The deputy where she is. No. Mute yourself, please. Thank you. No, you can believe the Maya. Can you just confirm that the Maya is nice? Because you cannot have a meeting without executive Maya or acting Maya or the deputy. And I know our lady narrator, the team is with me. But she's fine.
Ek is in speaker.
I say, thank you, Deb. Notice is hereby given in terms of Section 29 of the Local Government Municipal Structures Act 117 of 1998. At the council meeting of the 2016-2021 term of the Gardenwood District Municipality will be held via Zoom on Wednesday, 30 September 2020 at 11. Consider the items set out in the agenda. It's already been 11 o'clock, that's past 11. Let me take this opportunity, first of all, to greet our Deputy Executive Mayor, all our members of the Mayoral Committee, all other my fellow councillors, colleagues, our senior executive managers, all other precious staff. Please feel free and welcome to participate once we recognize you. I'm wishing you all a very productive meeting. Stay blessed, stay safe. May I ask that we observe a moment of silent prayer, please? And whilst we're doing that, I don't know who else followed the news, but I would like to ask, when we have this moment of silence, that 4-year-old child, girl child, 4 years old, that was found in a bush, stabbed to death. Imagine that to be your child or your grandchild. Can you just imagine what this gender-based violence is doing to our women and our children? Must stop, and we must act. Also to those that were affected by COVID and otherwise, it's also let's ask the best councillor there is in my mind to be with us in this meeting as well. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We now move to the attendance of members. Councillor present, can I please ask Rihanna, that's please, if you don't mind, can we do it alphabetically? You don't have to press your mic and to say, good morning, I'm here. Let me ask Rihanna to do it alphabetically, if at all possible, or as it appears on the agenda, the list. I think that would be easier because I checked in alphabetic order if I still remember correctly. So can I ask Rihanna just to call out the councillor's name, and then we can just register you as well. You can just say, yes, okay, of course. Just to
Councillor Spies,
In attendance, thank you.
Councillor Hartnick,
Present, thank you.
Councillor Rousseau,
I'm present, thank you.
Councillor Luchaba,
I'm present, thank you.
Councillor Gungubele, Councillor De Vries,
Teenwoordig.
Councillor Gungubele is present.
Councillor Strubel,
I'm present. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
That is a special welcome met groot dankbaarheid. Thank you.
Councillor Fry, Councillor van der Hoeven,
Councillor van der Hoeven is present and is submitting leave for Tobeka Taisi, Councillor Tobeka Taisi of Alderman Tobeka Taisi, and Mandla Mtuini, which is a new councillor which is supposed to be inaugurated. He's struggling to get locked in. He will let us know when he is there, so that item must stand over until he is locked in.
thank you, Alderman. Alderlady Wolmeraad,
I'm present.
Alderlady Reuters,
I am present.
and then in the council chambers, we've got Alderlady Kritzinger,
Present.
Councillor Kampke, Alderman Groenewald,
Present.
Councillor Harris,
Present.
and then Councillor Lawson, who just joined. Those are the councillors that is present via Zoom and in the council chambers.
I'm also in Rihanna, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer.
Councillor Boyson is also in.
Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Speaker.
Speaker.
is also in.
Vogel is also in.
Councillor
Speaker,
Gungubele is also in.
Councillor Chokolo is struggling to connect.
Can you hear me?
Councillor Fry is also trying to connect.
Speaker,
Yep.
Councillor Kungubele is also present. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yes, and also present, Councillor Kungubele. Yes, thank you.
Goedemorgen collega's, Vrij is tegenwoordig.
Morgen die vrij.
Morgen speaker. Sharon May teenwoordig.
Thank you. If you join us later, just let us know when you join, councillors. I'm requesting the whips, the chief whips of the parties, to make known when those councillors do join us, so that they can
Speaker?
Yes, I'm listening. Thank you.
Speaker, it's Chokolo here. Sorry, Speaker. I was struggling with the login details. Councillor Volmarans, we had a fight in the caucus, so she misled me. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Chokolo. You don't have to say sorry. You didn't do anything wrong as far as I know. But yes, thank you for that. Councillors with leave. I've received applications for leave from Councillor Bandesi, Councillor Gericke, and Councillor Wildschut. In addition to those that Alderman van der Werven also mentioned. Let me take this opportunity to wish them all a speedy recovery. Those that are suffering from ill health, we know and we trust that you'll feel better very soon. Any other applications for leave of absence from councillors, please? Our MM. I greet you again, our MM. Any official that you would like to convey an application for leave for this council meeting? Thank you, MM.
Morning, Speaker. Speaker, good morning and good morning, councillors. I'm not aware of any leave of absence from officials. All are present.
Thank you very much, Ndati Strato. Can we then move to item 4? Noting the provisions of Schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct for Councillors of the Local Government Municipal Act, Municipal Systems Act 32 of 2000. Take note of that code. Take serious note of that code. And everything that you think, say, and do. Item 5, disclosure of interest by councillors and or officials. Any councillor or official that would like to register their pecuniary interest in any item to be considered on the agenda today? None? Thank you.
Speaker, can I just indicate something? Sorry for interrupting.
Please proceed, Alderman.
Speaker, Councillor Patko Mpetisa says he is struggling. Can someone just send him a link, please, on WhatsApp?
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. Thank you, Advocate. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to head over to the MM. I think it's item E3. Thank you, Speaker. With your permission, I would like to declare for various officials as an item that would, if approved, would have a pecuniary interest for various number of employees. I do not have the list, but I'd like to make a blanket declaration for that item.
Thank you so much, Emin. Thank you very much, Advocate. Good morning, Alderman Executive Meyer.
Morning, Speaker, and morning, councillors, and morning, officials.
Very good morning to you. Thank you, Executive Mayor. May I take this opportunity to request that you do your communications before I do mine? I'll appreciate that. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to be long because the bulk of my communications are based on some of the items on the agenda. So when we get to those items, I will then deliberate. And Speaker, just two things. One is that it seems to me that we have some way to go again with the B municipalities in terms of synchronizing your office diary with their offices' diaries. I know that you have been communicating our planned meetings, but it still shows that quite often the B municipalities, for some reason, their meetings clashes with the district meetings. And this is just one of those things where we don't have to get tired by reminding your counterparts for these meetings not to clash, because I'm also aware that today there are quite a few which are clashing with ours. And then, Speaker, the other thing is that, and it has been raised even in the MACO meeting this morning, that there is a huge confusion in terms of the alert level 1 and the existence and the dangers of the COVID-19 virus. It really seems like it's business as usual. And the majority of times in public spaces, we don't see masks. But I know Gerard will also deal with that and will probably have a second bite when we deal with that item. And it really now looks riskier than before because of the human behavior and people probably confusing the level 1 with whether the virus still exists. And Mr. Speaker, and then I will be dealing with the bulk of my communications when we get to the various items on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman. I can just share with everyone that, yeah, it is a problem. The clashes with meetings still. I don't know why. It also happened today. I had to rush from Mossel Bay and I had to twin myself. I attended the meeting at Mossel Bay that started at 9 and with my other colleague councillors, Elder Lady, Lucina Reiters, our Deputy Executive Mayor, Councillor Erika Meyer. We also attended Mossel Bay. So at times, I fully agree, Mr. Mayor, and I strongly request, please, friendly request regards all the councillors that are represented on Ghana Route from a B municipality. Please take it up within your caucuses at that meeting and to speak. Also try to persuade your speakers, please, also to allow us to synchronize our meetings. It's really a huge bron van frustratie. It's really frustrating, and I think all councillors want to and should attend all meetings of their councils, including the Bs as well as the district. Thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Rihanna. My apologies. Let me just again re-invite everyone. If I don't see your hand, which I do not do from where I sit, Rihanna is assisting me a lot, as well as the members of the Secretariat. But if I don't see you, it's not that I ignore you at all. Please use your mic and interrupt me and to say that you would like to come in. Please do that, councillors. MN, please feel free and welcome to do that as well. Thank you, Rihanna.
Alderman van der Hoeven raised his hand.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker. It is really appreciated. I think we must get a system in place so that you can see the hands, because I think it's very important that if no one else sees hands, it's only you must. It's a must for you. So, and I would also like that request that they change the icon here, that the hand is not in blue, because I don't like the blue. I would request perhaps green or yellow or such a color, which is more visible. That is just in a lighter note. Speaker, Councillor Patku Mapatisa requested, he sent me a WhatsApp requesting to speak on behalf, to react to the mayor, but I don't know whether he has been locked in as yet. So perhaps just check there if he has been locked in so that we can get his innings in this regard. We were under the correspondence of the mayor, or in the input of the mayor, just also recognize those who lost their lives in the COVID-19, also officials from the district. Although there was memorial ceremonies here at the district, in that regard, we will also just want to minute it and share our condolences, and with everyone else in the district who have lost their lives and the loved ones of those people. I think it's very important that they do get the recognition. And we totally agree, Speaker, that the COVID-19, although there was a relaxation of the regulations, that the virus is not over. But there is an item regarding this, and we will address that under that item, and we won't deliberate any further on that. So, Speaker, I don't know whether Councillor Mapatisa has joined us, but if he is here, I would like him to also, Speaker, that you allow him to also address us on the mayoral issue.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoofen. I received some WhatsApps here to say that they cannot hear me properly. I'm sitting about 2 centimeters from the mic. They're also complaining that some councillors that they couldn't hear you, Alderman van der Hoofen. I will try to fix that. I thought that everybody could hear us loud and clear, but yes, I'll move even closer to the mic so that everybody can hear me properly. There, get a thumbs up. People can hear me better now. Thank you for that. Councillor Mapatisa, you are welcome. We saw that you are online and that you did connect to this meeting. Please proceed to make your input short and sharp. Thank you, Councillor Mapatisa.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and greetings to my colleagues on this day. Speaker, just to have 1 or 2 bites on issues that we think are prominent, and that we should bring it and raise it, bring it to the attention of the Alderman, the Executive Mayor. Speaker, firstly, I must take this opportunity to applaud the Executive Mayor for job well done when he made a presentation to the Parliament Portfolio Committee on Economic Development and Tourism, a meeting that was on the 15th of September. I think the presentation was well crafted and it demonstrated an abundance of opportunities that the Garden Route District municipalities has. Speaker, I must also applaud the administration of the Garden Route under the stewardship of Principal Manager, Mr. Strato, for ensuring that the Garden Route District municipality as an institution is legally compliant. I cannot imagine the state of affairs pre this administration, our predecessors of the 4th administration of local government. But Speaker, in the same vein, unfortunately, let me raise it straight through you to the Alderman, the Executive Mayor, that I find it difficult for one to echo the same sentiment when it comes to the service delivery. If you recall, all projects initiated seem not to be taking off, whether it's the holiday resorts issue, whether it's the waste landfill site, and we continue to have challenges with the implementation. I'm raising this, Speaker, at the backdrop that we are left with only 14 months as councillors or as this administration. before the next local government. I'm preempting the elections will be somehow in September next year. And I recall in the last two SODA, His Worship, the Executive Mayor, have made some undertakings, but yet not much practical has occurred. Speaker, I'm raising this because when the Executive Mayor had I think it was in 2018, he joined the president and on the Tumina campaign, and wherein a number of things would be done. And now, since I've indicated that less practical is done, perhaps it's time to mandate and direct mayor to move out of Tumamina and get us to Kauleza. I'm sure that's when things will be done. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Petita. And, any other councillor?
Speaker, we've got 3 hands. Councillor Lambertjean, Chaba, and then Spies.
Thank you, Councillor Lambertjean. Please proceed.
Speaker, good morning. Good morning, all colleagues, officials. Speaker, I just want to indicate to you that myself and Councillor Ben van Wyk, we are at my house due to a meeting that is taking place currently now as we speak at our Garden Route satellite office. So we are present in this meeting, and I'm sitting at my house due to difficulties from Councillor Ben van Wyk. Is also sitting with me, if it's in order with you. Thank you very much, Speaker. I just want to put it under your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lambertjean. Now, we heard from Ben, our councillor, there next to you. He gave us a healthy cough, so yep, we thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor Lechaba. Good morning.
I like to greet everyone, officials, honorable councillors, and the executive. Speaker, I just wanted to, in the same breath, as you have started the meeting, to say we have to also observe and as much as we are talking about COVID-19, the violence is very prominent. It is society is out of control about gender-based violence. We need to do something. We need to be saying in this level to our communities in terms of condolences, in terms of support, and in terms of saying what can we do, because they are looked as leaders. We are leading in terms of COVID. Let us also lead in this sphere of gender-based violence against women and children. From our it's out of hand. Every day, every minute, we are hearing baby women. It is a pandemic, as declared the president. And I'm hoping that we will more as much as we have put, as we are put 19. And must we
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. Can you just repeat your last sentence, please? Because the internet is a bit unreliable, I know from experience. And can I suggest to all councillors, if you find it difficult to stay online, use your mobile. It works for me in Reebok. Thank you, Councillor Chaba. Can you please proceed, but just please repeat the last couple of sentences that you've shared with us. I couldn't hear you. Thank you. It seems as if we've lost temporarily the connection of Councillor Chaba. Yes, personally, I cannot wait that we see every day, like in COVID, how many cases were reported on gender-based violence and what we did about it, and how many recoveries were there, and how many deaths were there due to gender-based violence. I can't wait for that day. Thank you, Councillor Chaba.
I'm back. Our that we statistics in our situation with the gender-based, we start to see the hot spots and
My apologies, Councillor Chaba. You're breaking up. We cannot hear you properly. Can I just ask, I know Teams do have a meeting chat where you can write your remarks. I don't know if Zoom also has that facility. Can I ask councillors, I cannot monitor your messages on that meeting chat, which you, please, if you find it difficult to share with us whatever you need to say, please make use of the chat facility and write whatever you need to say if we cannot hear you through the mic. Is that fine with everyone? Can we also use that alternative technology at our disposal? When we cannot hear voices, then somebody can convey what you wrote there, and then from your party or your whip perhaps. Can we do that? Thank you. Can I then get Councillor Spies and then our Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyce, to respond to the input. Thank you. Councillor Spies, thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I will not presume to respond to Councillor Mapetiza's queries and issues on behalf of the Mayor, but as his colleague and I think a good partner, and as the Chief Whip of the DA in this council, I'd like to suggest that we do not use such broad and sweeping statements as all our projects are in disarray and that we are struggling. There is a record of resolutions and of decisions of this council and of what has been implemented and what has been successful. And we have to pay attention and then find the good. I do appreciate his carrot and stick approach to the criticism. But in these current situations, in the current atmosphere, I think the time we have left is a call to us as colleagues of this entire administration to rise to the challenge and get done what needs to be done before we pass the baton on to the next administration. And that these are extraordinary times, but extraordinary things get done in extraordinary times. If you put your mind and resolve to get things done. So I challenge all of us to please rise to the challenge and meet the moment, and let's get it done before the next elections. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Spies. Yes, indeed. Extraordinary times, extraordinary things that could get done and can and are getting done by extraordinary people. Thank you so much. Alderman Executive Meyer, would you like to please respond?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Councillor Mapitiza for highlighting the achievements from both council and the administration. And in the same vein, Mr. Speaker, I agree with both councillors. I agree with Councillor Mapitiza, and I agree with our Chief Whip, Councillor Spies, that because of the current circumstances, we also have to change tact. But Mr. Speaker, I am still confident that we can still pull off the majority of these initiatives because the service providers and the preferred bidders have all came back to us, and they've also blamed some of their own delays from their side on COVID-19 and on the lockdown. But I'm confident in the sense that, Mr. Speaker, now that we're back to level 1, we are in a position now to chase them up, and it's time to put their money where the mouths are. And but I am confident that we can go, and we will go into Khawuleza mode. And based on the gender-based violence, Mr. Speaker and councillors, Councillor Lichaba is spot on. It is still worrying, Mr. Speaker, and the onus is really on us as men, because I'm also part of various platforms where these issues are discussed, and the sentiments shared by the females on those platforms is that it is still a talk shop from us as men. We keep quiet. Sometimes we don't come out when people are screaming, but we hear the screams. So it's really a matter of us now really acting as men. And I put out that challenge that it is now time that we should not keep quiet. We should poke our noses into what is happening within our neighboring yards and so on, because somebody hears when these things are taking place. So we as men must really pull up our socks, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Councillor Fry, just a second. Councillor Fry, are you with us? Could you get connected, or are you still struggling with the connection?
Speaker, I am connected now.
Thank you so much. Glad to hear that. Thank you, Councillor Harris. Just keep the button pressed in, please. Keep it in. Hello. If you can move the mic a bit closer to your mouth, I think we'll be able to hear you. Hello. Yes, we can hear you now. Okay. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just on the question of the COVID-19 pandemic, I know there's an item on this one, but I just want to raise some issues. I want to thank the mayor and the administration for their initiative to take the campaign and the awareness campaign of the COVID-19 pandemic to the people. There were various platforms used by the executive mayor, but now it is in the hands of the people to decide whether they want to take the country back to level 5 or 3. Now, just yesterday on the news, it was reported that during this lockdown, we have lost over 2 billion jobs. So that is a very big concern to us, and even it affects the Garden Route region. We are not immune to this pandemic, so it will have a huge impact on the economy of the various towns within the district. So we want to communicate to the communities out there to take this issue serious. Yes, we are on level 1, but still there are some responsibilities that we need to adhere to. The president of this country, whether we like him or not, he make a request or ask the South African people, public, to wear their mask, to wash their hands, and do all things to prevent the disease to spread. So we call on these people of the Garden Road district just to adhere to the request of this president and even of the mayor of the Garden Road district. The issue on the gender-based violence is a very complex matter. It's not like you can fix it today, but that does not mean that we need to put measures in place and campaigns to sensitize our communities about this pandemic within our communities. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris. Executive Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the councillors once again are spot on. And as I was saying, that some of these things are based on the items, and I will allude to it when we get to those items. For instance, the report on the Premiers Coordinating Forum, etc. Some of these things I had to make reports there, and I will just allude to that when we get to that item. But he is spot on in terms of the worrying indicators. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Executive Meyer. From my side, some very good news to start off with, and we really are very thankful that Councillor Lisa, and I wish you could show your face because I see the agenda, but Councillor Lisa Strubel, we're extremely grateful that you survived that horrible crash. And our thoughts and hearts and prayers really also went out to those that were also injured and that has passed on. So a very special welcome to you, Councillor Lisa Strubel, that you also form part today of this meeting. And I thank the Lord that I didn't have to say, can we please stand up for a moment of silence due to your passing on. So we are really thankful that you are recovering and that you are recuperating, and that ons regtig hoop that you will recover in full and soon, and that you will be your very self very soon. So from my side, I would just like to say that we are thankful that you back and part with us in this meeting as well.
Mr. Speaker, just allow me to convey my sincerest gratitude and thanks for your kind words. And yes, it is indeed sad that a woman had to pass away due to an accident which should never have occurred. An accident which was unnecessary due to high speed and the abuse of alcohol. So it is sad that in this day and age we should still be I'm not even talking about violence towards women, but also drunken driving is a huge problem on our roads, and it creates unnecessary sorrow, damage, and cost of lives on our roads. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I really appreciate that. God bless everybody.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lisa Strubel. Then I think we had 2 very special birthdays during the weekend as well. Everybody looks so innocent. If I look to my left, see the municipal manager, he's not reacting at all, so he thinks I'm only talking about Rihanna Matthews. So we're very, very happy birthday and everything of the very best for you, for each and every day of your new year. And we would really like, if I may
Can't hear
ask,
you properly, Speaker.
Alderman van der Hoeven.
Speaker, I can't hear you properly. Perhaps the others also. So there's something wrong with the sound.
Thank you. I'll try again. Just give me an indication. Am I too close to the mic? Too far away? I'm now about 2 centimeters away from the mic. Let me repeat that. Am I too close to the mic? Or should I move closer? I'm now about 2 centimeters away from the microphone. Okay, I take it that everybody heard that. Then I would like to, from the, I think it's the 15th. Yeah, it's from the 15th. We're having birthdays on the 15th of October. Councillor Venolia Gungubele. On the 16th, the next day, we've got Elder Lady Jenny Hartnick. The next day, on the 17th, we've got Councillor Erika Meyer. And then you can take a rest. And then I see that it is Barney Groenewald's birthday on the 21st. So you've got a rest from the 17th till the 21st to take a break for the next birthday on the 21st. So let me take this opportunity to welcome, to congratulate everybody on their birthdays already. You've got our email addresses. We take some strong coffee and we'll have cake. So happy birthday to everyone. And from my side, let me just say that we also have additional items on the agenda. So we will consider them as well. And we've got closed session matters as well. Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. I would like to ask Councillor Matiwane from Knysna. Are you connected at the Knysna offices?
Yes, Speaker.
There you are. May I then ask our good advocate, MM, is that fine? That we can proceed with this item under section C. It's the inauguration of ANC Councillor, Garden District Municipality, Councillor MG Matiwane. It's also Councillor Tsengwa's birthday today. And although he's not in the chambers and perhaps not online, we congratulate him on his birthday today as well. Please proceed, Advocate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Speaker. The item in front of us, Hannah, it's the inauguration of ANC Councillor in the Garden Road District Municipality. The councillor's name is Councillor MG Matiwane. The recommendations, Speaker, are found on page 2. The first recommendation, recommendation 511, is that the cognizance be taken of the notice from the IEC dated 28 September 2020. Recommendation number 2 is that Councillor GM Matiwane be inaugurated as a councillor of the Garden Road District Council with effect from 28 September 2020. Recommendation number 3 is that Councillor GM Matiwane be requested to take the oath of office as required in terms of the Municipal Structures Act 1998. If the council so pleases, we would ask that we have a proposer and a seconder, then we can go ahead with the rest of the item. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate. Can we get a proposal and a seconder for the recommendations item?
Propose.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kutzinger, seconded and proposed in by Councillor Jocelyn. Advocate, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to first see the councillor that we talking to so that we Can you zoom Rihanna pin the video so that they will put him on the screen? Okay. Welcome, Councillor Matiwane.
Thank you, Advocate.
Thank you so much. We will now, in terms of recommendation 513, you will be requested to take the oath of office as required in terms of the Municipal Structures Act. I will then read the oath and you can just repeat after me. Is that okay with you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Will you please repeat after me? I, Mandla Goodman Matiwane,
I, Mandla Goodman Matiwane,
hereby swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa
hereby swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa
and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution
and I will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution
and all other laws of the Republic.
and all other laws of the Republic of South Africa.
And I solemnly promise
And I solemnly promise
to perform my functions as a member of the Garden Road District Municipality
as the member of the Garden Road District Municipality
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Will you please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God"?
So help me God.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Advocate. I think we just made history today. It was the first inauguration and the taking of oath via Zoom. So thank you so much for the preparation. And from my side, I will now allow everyone that would like to welcome our new brother to the family, to one of the best councils, if not the best, district municipality for sure in the country, Councillor Matiwane. Very, very welcome to you. We're looking forward to your contributions and to the improvement of the lives of everyone that we serve, because here we serve above self. We don't think of ourselves, we think about those that we serve, and everything that we think, and do, say and do, we do that for others. But let me allow, first of all, our Executive Mayor, Alderman Wayans, to say a word or two, and then other councillors as well that would like to welcome our new councillor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to welcome Councillor Matiwane. I know him quite well, and he is a firebrand. And I'd like to say to him that he's been seconded to the right school in terms of where we work together and where we share experiences. So there's also a couple of things that we will definitely be able to learn from him in terms of his activism and his passion for what he's doing. So he's in the right team where we can all execute this togetherness. And welcome, Councillor Matiwane. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alderman Executive Meyer.
Alderman van der Woogen.
Alderman van der Woogen.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity. Speaker, I can echo what the Mayor has said. I also know Councillor Matiwane for quite some time. Perhaps this district municipality. I want to tell him, I don't think he's aware of that, but this is really a functional, operational, is really excellent. Because of the excellent official that this district municipality has, this district municipality is guided by strong councillors, and he is going to add extra value to that. I'm also sad to lose Councillor Aubrey Chwenga, but he's got other responsibilities. We are a good opposition, a strong opposition, and I think we must get recognition for that. And Councillor Matiwane will add to that. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoofd. Councillor Spies, thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Councillor Matiwane, homeboy, to the Garden Route District Municipality. Councillor Matiwane, this is a peaceful and constructive working environment. I believe you'll find it a bit of a holiday to come and work here with us. I have every confidence in your ability and your passion to work for our communities. And yes, this is a place where the weight of your argument and the passion with which you express it counts more than the volume of the voice that you make that argument with. I wish you every success, and I believe that we will, as your chief whip just expressed, we will work well together. Congratulations again, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Anybody else? None? Councillor Matiwane, I'm going to give you a short opportunity just to say something. I thought you were Sesotho. Where I come from in Sesotho, we say the dogs are tied. Die honde is vasgemaak hierso. So nothing will bite you. Here you can be yourself just as long as you're productive and constructive. But you may address council for a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you guys for welcoming me. Hopeful that I'll contribute positive in building this council of the district. As a person that have contributed positive in building the council in Knysna, hopeful that I'll transpire it to the council of the district, and hopefully I'll learn some few tricks from the old eldermen that are here in this game that have been more years than me. Yeah, hopefully all this time that is left till the elections, I will enjoy it to the best of my abilities with your assistance and everyone. Thank you very much for that.
And Nkosi, Councillor Matiwane. Can I then ask our municipal manager, Tatimonde Strato, to provide us with his communications. Thank you, Tati.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Firstly, let me, on behalf of myself and on behalf of the administration, take this opportunity to welcome Councillor Matiwane to the Garden Route District Council. We hope to ensure that we make your life easy, Councillor, in terms of the support that is necessary from the administration. And should you experience any hiccups, please, you are also free to contact myself and all the officials that are there to assist councillors. So welcome, Councillor Matiwane, to the Garden Route. Speaker, I've just got a few things that I'd like to share with council. Firstly, on the COVID issues, as the administration speaker, with the president having announced level 1, we have moved to level 1, which means 100% of the staff has returned to work. We are managing those that are supposed to be still granted leave for comorbidities and those that are beyond 60. But that is the work that we are dealing with in terms of the law. Fortunately for us, Speaker, we have no case as we speak. Everybody has recovered the 33 cases, and we know about the 3 deceased colleagues that we had. Under level 1, Speaker, then it means the There's a lot of things that are going to happen. And as you said, people think that the pandemic has gone. It has not. And as an administration, we are going to ensure that we don't let down our guard. And we are asking our staff and everybody, even if they go home and travel everywhere, to please still wear their mask, social distance, and sanitize and wash their hands to ensure that they don't come back and infect their colleagues. Speaker, we have noted recently an upsurge in the number of unrests in our region that have affected the garden route. We are aware that now that it is open, it's going to happen a lot. And fortunately, we are also, as we have remarked, approaching the elections. All we are requesting is that, because as a district we are always required to go and assist, that we request cooperation from the municipalities and from everyone, so that we can deal with the issues. And would like to encourage councillors up to the ward level to please engage the communities and ensure that issues don't escalate to an extent that people go and protest on the streets, or some things that could have been prevented. Our experience last week was that in one of the municipalities, all the people required was to be addressed, and it took time for that to happen, and that caused havoc on the N2. It is our request to our leaders that please attend to the communities' issues as they happen. Speaker, there is an item that Councillor Mapitisa has referred to that is on the agenda. It's coming in as an addendum. We received the correspondence last night. We had to prepare a quick item for this council regarding the regional land facility. As we have been reporting on the progress, we have reached a stage where clearly the preferred bidder in the PPP agreement is ditching the municipality, and we are submitting that report for council to take certain decisions. It's clear that whatever has happened, that has not been the doing of this council or the administration, but it has always been external factors that have impacted on our project. Speaker, there is also a positive move regarding the human settlements project. You will recall that recently we applied for accreditation to the provincial government. That process, Speaker, is underway, and we will be bringing reports on progress as and when there is a material thing to report. But I think, Speaker, it's important that I make you aware that on the 11th of September, we were visited by the Director General of the Department of Human Settlements from Tshwane, Pretoria, Mr. Changana, who came to make a quick presentation on the national perspective on priority development areas. Clearly, Speaker, there is a move towards the function being devolved to the district municipality, and the DG came personally to see me and to make that presentation. I then proceeded to write back to him, advising him about the accreditation process and welcoming the move. They will then come back and then will submit a full report, Speaker, on the details on the human settlements priority development area. Speaker, the Councillor Mapitisa remarked on the issue of the Tumamina and Kauleza. And you will recall, Speaker, that early this year, the Executive Mayor attended the extended Presidential Coordinating Council in Victoria, where all the mayors were invited, district mayors and the premiers. And there was a lot of fanfare from that meeting. However, immediately after that, COVID happened and everything was closed. Today, Speaker, we just had a meeting with the presidency, with Dr. Ramokgopa, which was a very positive meeting, discussing one of our projects, which is the fuel tanks projects in Mossel Bay. But then, Speaker, we've agreed to meet and then discuss holistically the strategic projects that have been delayed by external factors, including COVID. That meeting will take place on an urgent basis. And I think, Speaker, from the meeting that we just had, it looks like the challenge that Councillor Mapitisa was raising is going to be unlocked, because indeed it is an external challenge. We are proceeding with the properties, as you know, Speaker. The public participation process for claim grants is underway, and we are dealing with the rest of the properties. Unfortunately, Speaker, there's an item as well regarding the issues relating to our properties. And I think it is something that this council must deal with, because there seems to be some disconnect at some point in terms of what we want to do as a district and what the local municipalities are doing. Speaker, there's also an item on the Water Services Authority, which is also an issue that impacts on local municipalities, which for us appears that there's also a disconnect between us and locals, and we have been reporting to this council regularly on that. But those items, Speaker, will discuss in detail as they are presented. With that, Speaker, that then concludes my communications. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. And I think we also thank you very much for this excellent administration which you are managing and the way in which you do it. Can we then move on to our next item on our agenda? It's the approval of the minutes of council meeting. The council meeting that was held on the 25th of August 2020. Any input, any comment on the correction thereof? Let me just say you're very good if you find any correction. I went through it and I found it faultless. So my congratulations to the Secretariat for that and everybody involved in preparing these minutes. Jana, your team, Trix, Advocate, everyone. If there's no comment on the correctness of the minute, no corrections. Also to Elder Lady Kitzinger, it's your department. Thank you, Elder Lady Kitzinger. There's a proposal, Councillor. Because Kakulu, Councillor Lose, it's good to see you also again. Proposal on seconders, can we move then? Are we together? Yeah, we're there. Item 10, can we note the minutes of the mayoral committee meeting that was held on the 27th of July 2020, pages 38 to 65?
Noted.
Thank you very much. That's Councillor Jocelyn. Can we move then? Item 11, there's nothing. Item 12, standing items, 12.1. Appointments, service exits, and labor relations information for August 2020, pages 66 to 73.
Speaker. Noted, Speaker.
Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. I see Elder Lady Kitzinger also would like to come in. Elder Lady?
No, it's fine. I just wanted to propose a recommendation as
Thank you, Elder Lady Kitzinger. Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Spies, you would like to come in?
Yes, Speaker. I just like council and specifically the executive manager of roads to please take urgent steps. If you see on page 67, we have lost at the roads department 2 senior workers, senior operator and a senior worker. Now I see that we've also had a resignation, and they are all African males and African females. To please attend to filling these positions with urgency and with speed. COVID-19 has put us very, very far on the back foot, and we need to not just take care of the backlogs that we are experiencing, but we also have to bring up the next generation that is going to not replace but fulfill these duties of the people that have left us. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Alderman. That laugh can only belong to a master alderman.
Goeiemorgen. Thank you, Speaker. This is a question from my own clarity. On page 67, the reason on the appointments is reinstated. So I wanted to find out whether it was previously employed people, and that's why we use the terminology reinstated. And then on page 72, whether it's Speaker, we do report now on the issue around gender. One of the other issues that we are not reporting on is issue around disability. And we do have a responsibility to ensure in terms of employment equity. And I think there's a percentage, I think 5 or 7% in terms of when it comes to employment equity. So if possible in future that we can also have an indication in terms of our employment and in terms of, so that we have indication in terms of where there are people with the disabilities that are being employed. I was a little bit concerned that in eSequa we could only find 1 female out of 7 people there on page 72. I think we must be serious and be consistent when it comes to our gender issues, so that we can at least adhere to those, in fact, adhere to our own policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman De Vries. Ms. Holzhausen.
Thank you, Speaker. Through you to Councillor De Vries. Maybe can we just start with the first issue that you raised about the reinstatement? Those officials were submitted to a disciplinary process and concurrently or subsequently reinstated. So that is the motivation or the reason for that reinstatement. And then I think also, you know, your other comments made in regards to the, you know, disabilities. I think we can add another section to this report going forward and also indicate, you know, the percentages in terms of employment of people with disabilities. So that we can do. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Werfer. Can I now give an opportunity to Alderman van der Werfen? And then our municipal manager also would like to respond. Thank you, Alderman van der Werfen.
Speaker, I am covered by by Alderman De Vries. Thank you for that.
Now I say thank you, Alderman. Can I get the municipal manager, please, Ndati Strato?
Thank you, Speaker. Just to clarify on the 3 employees that were reinstated, because it might confuse if they were taken through a disciplinary process and reinstated. The 3 employees were taken through a DC and they were found guilty and they were dismissed. After that, they appealed their dismissal, and the appeal authority then decided to reinstate them, change the sentence. So that is why it's written there, they are reinstated. They were initially dismissed and then they were reinstated. I think we reported previously on their case on when they were dismissed and when they were reinstated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. Can we move? We've got a proposal seconder. Can we then move section A? Reports from the Speaker? None. I think we will receive perhaps at our next council meeting the quarterly report on the attendance of councillors of committee meetings and council meetings. We will receive it at our next council. Thank you for that. Section B, reports from the Executive Mayor. Nothing on the agenda. Our Executive Mayor, Alderman Poins, had indicated that he will provide further input during the discussion of the items that's already contained on the agenda. Section C, reports from our municipal manager. C1 is the Audit and Performance Audit Committee Charter, pages 74 to 92. Unchanged, but can I get a proposal on a seconder or any input on this matter?
Chair, I would like to propose as per the recommendation on page 74 that council approves the APAC.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady Klitzinger. Seconder?
Speaker?
Is that Councillor Spies?
Yes, Speaker. I see that the chairperson is on the Zoom meeting. I would just like to thank her and her committee for her excellent work and consistent work. And let's put another one in there, fantastic work. Thank you very much, Doctor. We appreciate it. And so with that, I second Councillor Klitzinger.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Can I just ask the good doctor for consulting hours? I need a serious prescription that will work as well. Thank you, doctor. And while you're welcome, ma'am. Thank you, doctor.
Good morning, all the councillors. Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you also for the opportunity that we have to work with the municipality. We recently had an APAC meeting, which went very well. So I would like to just also congratulate the MM and his staff on the good work for making our job much easier than what it is. Thank you.
Can we give her a hand? Thank you, doctor. I'm looking forward also to you, for you to assist me with my electronic signature, which I can attach to the agenda. Thank you, doctor. Can we move then to D1, pages 93 to 100? We are now on D1, deviation report, implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of July 2020 to 31st of July 2020, pages 93 to 100. Alderman van der Werven.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, now I think we are making huge progress. Previously, we looked at millions that were deviated. And now it's 300,000 and 333,000, 300,000 for June, and then 333,000 for July. Most of them are COVID-related deviations. So, Speaker, I need to congratulate whoever deals with these deviations, that there's huge progress. And I want to raise my case there.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Werven. Any further input on this matter? Can I get a seconder for this, for D1, please?
Mr. Speaker, I second that.
Thank you, Councillor Lisa. Can we then proceed D2, deviation report, implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of August to 31st of August 2020, pages 101 to 106. Any input, comment? Are we together? No comment?
Speaker.
I'm listening. Thank you, Councillor Chaba.
Yes, I just wanted to know in terms of deviation, since we have COVID-related matters, does it still stand that we are still going to have, I want to ask the MM, that do we still going to have to as much as council is approving this deviation, however, the ones that are COVID related, that are we still going to have that report that needs to be outlined in terms of the particular COVID finding and so forth?
There's a question from Councillor Richaba. Any further input before I give an opportunity to respond? Any further input or comment on this matter?
My hand is up, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven.
Yes, Speaker. I want to ask a question. I look at the deviations for August 2020, and I see there's absolutely no deviations except for roads, which is 10,000 rand. How do we get that right? And can we continue on this road, Speaker? Because whoever is responsible for this must be congratulated.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoeven.
I just want to add that I don't even see COVID-19 deviations there, so I don't know how they got past that.
Yep. Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. No further input. Can I give our Municipal Manager Tati Magistrato to respond to the questions raised? Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. Just for procedure, the item that had COVID-19 deviations has already been dispensed with. So the question rather came late, but I will respond to it. I have responded at the MPEC meeting, and I think I was not present in the previous council meeting. I think there was a response as well to the same question. The president has said all COVID transactions need to be reported on. Now, I've said the Auditor General has already requested us to submit all COVID-related transactions. So the AG is looking at that. They've also requested our own internal audit section to also have a look and work with them. And therefore, it then says that anything that needs to be reported on deviations will be reported on. So the procedure is that those reports will be processed as and when they are available at the opportune time. So clearly the expenditure that has been incurred from COVID funds and from other funds that were not COVID, but to work on the COVID issues will be reported on. So there will be reports coming at the right time. Yes, Councillor van der Hoeven, through your speaker, there are no COVID deviations in August because there were none. And there were no other deviations from other departments. And it is our intention, as we've stated previously, to not deviate because we don't want deviation. We can only be forced by emergency, of which COVID was one. If you remember, if you take us back before COVID, we were reducing our deviations very drastically over time. It's just that they peaked after COVID and the numbers show. So after we have stopped and we have got everything, there is nothing that we are going to deviate on unless it's an emergency or it's within those allowable sections in the SEM regulations. So that is the situation, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Emma. Got a proposal and a seconder? Can we then move to D2? Oh, sorry, D3. It's a report regarding the MFMA circular number 106, local government framework for infrastructure delivery and procurement management. Just for clarity, MM, is it 1st of July 2021, the implementation to give us a chance to consider any changes to our supply chain management policy?
Yes, Speaker. The memo from the Treasury said, once I receive this, I must make Council aware so that Council can take note. So this is why this item is here. From then on, we have to then amend our supply chain management policy in line with this. So there will be a process through our workshop for policies and everything to discuss and bring it to council for approval before we can implement next financial year.
Thank you so much, MM. Any input, comments on this report? D3. And surely it's tailor-made. We must, in terms of our own character, our own procedures, develop what we think best.
That's correct.
That's it. It's not one size fits all.
It can't be, it doesn't work.
Here in Ngozi Kakuru, because we are different. Because we are the best. You can't have to be the best. Thank you. Can we have a proposal and seconder that we take note? We don't approve, MM. We take note of the circular. Proposal and seconder that we take note of the circular.
I propose it.
Councillor Lose, Councillor Lampis, are you still online?
I second.
Speaker, I was just going to respond, Speaker. I propose that we take it. It's in order.
Thank you. In order. Thank you, Councillor Lose. Councillor Lose also thinks it's in order. Thank you. Can we then move to the E1, items from the Corporate Services Department, policy for the conferment of alderman or elder lady. Can we turn that around? For elder lady and alderman on a policy. It's not alderman, elder lady, it's elder lady or alderman on a policy. Yeah.
Thank you, Speaker, for giving us that credit. You know, if you want something done, you give it to a woman in any case. So it's good that you put us first. This policy is just slight amendments to this policy regarding the credits that are at stake when MACO members and only MACO members you only get credits for that. And then I want to propose the recommendation that is on page 131. Council approves the amendments of this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kurtzinger. Any further input and or seconder for this policy?
I will second the Speaker.
Before you second, Speaker, I just want to ask a question.
You're welcome.
I can't find it now, but it says there that mayoral members of other municipalities does not qualify for extra points at the district, which we agree to. But doesn't that also apply to speakers?
Can I take it, the understanding is that any office bearer, if any council...
Can we change that to office bearer then? But office bearer, what is an office bearer? That must also be...
It's a speaker, executive mayor.
Fine.
My apologies for interjecting. You please proceed, Alderman van der Hoeven.
So I think you raised it, that it's not just members of MACOs, but also speakers. Fact is that office bearers, you are office bearers. How can we define that?
Yep. Do I have the blessing of council that we rephrase that to include all office bearers? Mayors, executive mayors, deputy mayors, speakers, members of the mayor committee, single whips, not chief whips, single whips. We're talking legislature.
In other words, council's chief whip of council.
Yep. Single whip of council. Who's then the chief whip?
Speaker, we as the ANC will go with that.
Yes.
Thank you. Can I get from Councillor Spies? Councillor Spies had to attend to an urgent call. Executive Mayor, do you agree that we can include all other office bearers here?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I agree with Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Perhaps, Speaker, just crossed my mind. Perhaps we make it full-time council. All other full-time council.
Thank you. Well, we make it, what we say in Afrikaans, ons vat nou dooie rus. There's no chance that we're going to miss. Thank you. Can we then move to E2, the Human Resource Policies for the Corporate Services Department 2020, pages 140 to page 190. Hello, Lady Kitzinger.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to sort of do a request to colleagues in other municipalities to basically to encourage the municipalities to also basically adopt a gender-based violence policy. And it's something to be proud of because we are the first municipality, and I really think that we should encourage other municipalities to adopt, this kind of policy as it is so important in our communities. I also want to recommend that we accept these two policies that are at stake today.
Thank you, Elder Lady. I would just like to say, I could a tra ingevryf by Mossel Bay. So I already bragged at Mossel Bay and said to Kiki, look at this. So yeah, I think we should follow suit, and congratulations for dat ons kan voorloop, that we lead in this regard. Councillor Harris.
Ja, baie dankie, Chairperson. Chairperson van ons kant af is ons ook bly vir die iets wat nou hier is. Dat daar so 'n beleid is. Aan die ander kant is dit dat ons nie net 'n beleid moet hê wat mooi gaan lyk nie, maar dat ons 'n beleid het wat 'n werkbare dokument kan wees binne die administrasie en dat ons hom suksesvol kan implementeer en dat hy gereeld gemoniteer word in die implementeringsproses. Soos ek vroeër gesê het, dit is 'n baie komplekse situasie, maar ons het 'n dokument wat ons kan werk. Ek het net meer vra, Mr. Chair, waar of wie is verantwoordelik vir die implementering van hierdie policy? En is daar 'n verantwoording wat kan implementeer of dit kan word om 'n sukses te hê gemaak van hierdie beleid? Is een ding om die beleid te hê, maar as ons nie financial en human resource het om dit te implementeer, dan is dit ook maar 'n policy wat ons stof kan raak. So ek wil net duidelikheid hê rondom dit. Baie dankie.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Councillor Harris inquired in his question on his remark because the implementation of this policy, who are the custodians of this policy, who's going to monitor the implementation, the correct implementation and adherence to this policy, and do we have the budgetary resources to ensure that it's implemented 100%? I think that if that's more, Councillor Harris, is one of you. So that is the input. I think we all are custodians, but let me, our Executive Manager, Corporate Services. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Speaker. Through you to Councillor Harris. Yes, the HR department will be the custodians for the implementation of this plan as well as the monitoring of this plan. I am also glad to announce that we are now partnering with the Gender Commission and also with the provincial department in initiatives that we're going to roll out in terms of gender-based violence, also gender mainstreaming. We had an engagement earlier this month in terms of how we are going to proceed with this. And we will definitely make sure that not only employees of the garden route empowered and informed, but we also have a program that will address, the communities in terms of training initiatives. So we're very excited about that. And what we can do, Speaker, is to actually report back to Council on the progress made with the implementation plan, which is currently also part of this policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I received a WhatsApp here that please, there are some councillors that find it hard, that couldn't hear, for instance, clearly when Alderman van der Werven speaks, Councillor Harris, at times myself, Elder Lady Kritzinger. So I'm asking that we either up the volume a bit or speak closer to the mic. I take it that's been disinfected. Order. So no thanks. Let's try to assist in that regard. Give us an indication if you cannot hear clearly, not clearly, clearly, whatever the case may be. Can we move? With congratulations to our excellent
Speaker, my hand is up, Lichaba, Councillor Lichaba.
Chaba, I can hear you clearly, thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I think first we congratulate ourselves for such a great move to have such policy. I think it's the first, and it's a first start for us. At the same time, Speaker, this policy, I think when we went through it, there were a lot of things that we have said in regards to what we also needed to be added. I'm not sure. I thought that we will be seeing it written in red so that we know which, when we were in the workshop, we said a lot as council and what we also wanted to be incorporated. I didn't pick up those changes that we have made, but at the same time, I know it's a working document. I'm hoping that it will be revised yearly as we go along. And one of the most critical things why I'm saying that is because at some point, as Councillor Harris says, that it will, Trick says, it will be under corporate services. But at the same time now, because in one time in council, we have approved that there will also be a women caucus that will be assisting in terms of gender-based violence. And that was never established. So, but what we're trying to say is that let there be a consolidated approach so that from the administrative to the political, there is so that it can be a real working document in terms of program and in terms of implementation. Because at the moment it's going to be more from the administrative, that is the feeling, that it will be more administrative and from the political side, meaning from councillors, let there be also a direction where it also flows within us so that we are able to participate fully on implementing this policy. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lichaba. I see all heads nodding. And I really love it when you've got a policy, you also got a strategy in this, explained by our executive manager and Councillor Harris. Implementation and strategy, how are you going to achieve your objectives is as important, if not more important, that we see that we move forward and that we will constantly be reminded and be made aware that this is a pandemic and it's something that we really, really are not proud of, to be amongst the worst countries in the world regards this issue. No further input. If there is no further input, can I get a proposal or second on this matter?
Speaker, I will propose that we go with the recommendations as on page 140.
Thank you. I think Elder Lady Katsina, you've already proposed, so there's a seconder then. Thank you. My apologies, Elder Lady Katsina. You proposed and a seconder by Councillor Jocelyn. Thank you. We are now on E3, pages 191 to 200. Can I get some guidance from the House, from everybody that's connected? We know that our MM and some of our senior officials and staff have indicated that they do have a pecuniary interest in the consideration of this item E3. You know, it's like a councillor that must recuse himself when the charges and the levies and the fees are being determined in the budget and your property rates and taxes, then there's no council to consider it. If all councillors must recuse themselves, which has property in the municipality, so we'll stick around. So can I get an indication from the House? I think, no, let me reserve my comment on this. Can I get any input on E3, pages 191 to 200? Elder Lady Kritzinger first.
I would just like to, the recommendation on page 192, 5.1.1, 1.3. So as far as that's concerned, I want to recommend that Councillor Doctor's recommendations as per page 192. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Lady. I hear Alderman van der Hoeven. His mic is on.
Speaker, I couldn't hear what Councillor Kritzinger was saying. It was not clear. Therefore, I want to propose that we accept this.
I take it that's a seconder. That is more or less what Councillor.
Am I the seconder? Did she propose?
Yes, she proposed, Alderman.
No, you know, Speaker, I can't believe that. But nevertheless, I will second the Speaker on this one.
There are times is not
your reference to officials that have leave the
take this
meeting, Speaker.
place now.
Speaker, can you still hear me? I say with reference to officials that need to leave this when this item served. It's like when councillors need to approve upper limits, they all have to leave.
No, thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoeven and Elder Lady Kritzinger for the proposal and the seconder. You are both, julle is evenveel, daar's nie eens 'n kop lengte tussen die wenners nie. Both proposed and seconder. Any further comment on this issue? Executive Mayor, from your side, perhaps?
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm fine with the inputs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. I'm still
Mr.
receiving here that please up the volume.
Please, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Lisa Strubel.
I also raised my hand. I just wanted to comment on the audibility of Elder Lady Kritzinger. I can hardly hear her. Maybe she should just come closer to, you know, whatever tablet or laptop she's using, because her voice just, you know, goes away. So just my input or my suggestion. Thank you, Speaker.
Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Strubel.
Speaker.
I'm listening, Councillor Chaba.
No, it's Elder Lady Wolmerans. Speaker.
Councillor Wolmarans.
It's the same with Alderman van der Hoeven. I don't know if it's on my side or if it is on his side, but I can hardly hear a word what the Alderman is saying when he's speaking.
Can I just try to, from my side, I think you can, I'm audible?
Yes, yes, you are fine, but Kritseninger and Count van der Hoeven is not.
Thank you, Councillor Wolmarans. If I'm audible, I say that both Elder Lady Kritzinger and Alderman van der Hoeven is on our side, Garden Route side, yeah.
Speaker, perhaps it's better that she doesn't hear what I'm saying.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, Speaker, it's just, you know, I was sitting on the wrong side of the mic, so I cannot turn my back to you to face the mic and not look at you. So that's why they can't hear me, because every time I turn my head, they can't hear me. So as far as that's concerned, I moved chairs now, so it won't happen again.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady. You really make my day.
So much better.
Thank you. And we really do this, let me say from the chair side, because we really appreciate our staff a lot. You deserve it from my side. Thank you. And I'm also a beneficiary of the now JB Marks Clockware Potchefstroom City Council. Every month I see, yep, JB Marks. The contribution is about 4,800 a month in my case, Key Health. I'm not advertising for them, sorry. F1 progress report with regards to establishment of a district food bank, pages 201 to 237. Input or comment on this? F1, F for Foxtrot.
Mr. Speaker, can I come in?
You're most welcome. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and councillors. Mr. Speaker, we had a long debate in the mayoral committee meeting regarding this item. And from the MACO members who are coming from the Bs, especially Naisna and George, there's still a lot to be done in terms of the district re-engaging with those municipalities. Because there are finances involved, Mr. Speaker. And although myself and the municipal manager from both our offices have communicated with our counterparts, it seems as if the local municipalities, for some reason, this item has not been tabled as yet in front of the full council, so that these councils can take resolutions on this item. So we have decided that from my side, I will continue to interact with my counterparts. I know the MM have engaged his counterparts in writing, as well as in virtual meetings, as well as in the DCFs. But all councillors are not aware of the implications, and the need for this has not been fully communicated. So we have recommended that we agree with this as the district in principle, and we still need to have the B municipalities to fully discuss this. And apart from this item, there are also other few items, Mr. Speaker, where I think through my office and your office and the municipal manager's office, we need to get the local municipalities to invite us to their formal sittings, so that we can explain the misunderstandings regarding this item. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Yes, I really think that, and I would love to accompany you to whatever other B municipalities, just to hold your hand upright. I know it's strong, but yes, we need to convey clear messages also to the Bs, and I know that cooperation is key. Not that I'm saying it's not there, but we must move forward in the same direction. Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. That's the discussion from the mayoral committee, that because this council have taken specific resolutions on what I am supposed to do in my capacity as municipal manager in engaging municipalities on the various matters. I want to put it on record, Speaker, that on my part, I have discharged my responsibilities. I have visited the municipalities on the various items. On this particular one, it has been discussed, I think, on about 3 occasions at special DCF and for the COVID-19. So the whole consultation process was at the highest level for the food bank. Now to get information now that there is disconnect is strange. However, as the mayor have said, we'll continue to engage. But I just wanted the record to reflect that on our part, we have discharged the responsibility. I'll repeat the same, Speaker, in the other items as well, because for the record, there were specific resolutions taken by this council for me to discharge, which I've done. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, MM. Can I now give Councillor Chikolo an opportunity, and then Alderman de Vries, and then Councillor Lichaba, please, in that order. Thank you, Councillor. No, first Councillor Lichaba, ladies first, then Councillor Chikolo, and then Alderman. Okay, let me try again. First Councillor Lichaba, then Alderman de Vries, then Councillor Chikolo. Now, how's that? Please, Councillor Lichaba, proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you. Speaker, for me, is just that even I'm glad that we're still going to engage with the other B municipalities. But I think also equally so, this document from ourselves, it also needs to define, I think, especially when it comes to criteria. We know that we are in a very difficult time in our society, where the unemployment is rising, and also in terms of food security, in terms of jobs. So there is definitely a need for such initiatives. Criteria that we set from the beginning. I think that it's a very critical thing. Whether also we decide that we're going to use a criteria that is the indigent, from local municipalities, and from our side with criteria, because I think we know it from anywhere, food parcel, things that's got to do with food. There's always a fight. There's always, that there's unfairness into it. So we need to label those criteria beforehand so that everybody understands how and transparency of this, so that everybody can understand of who's going to get, what is the process, and so forth. I just think that I know it might look very small or not, but it's very critical when you go forward in terms of this process. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. Can we move to Alderman de Vries?
Pardon me. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, just to support Councillor Chaba, I think as we move forward, although not necessarily for this document, but as we move forward, when the bank is established, that we all are aware in terms of the criteria, and that there's transparency, that also that our communities also know in terms of how this will work. Speaker, for the establishment, I think that, and I want to make this comment based on what the mayor was saying of, I think it was Knysna and Zones, and where people will perhaps want to argue the issue around cost. I think any argument around cost will be disingenuous. If we quickly scan on page 206, the commitments for some of the municipalities is 49,000 rand over 3 years. The biggest municipality, we talk about 690,000 over a period of 3 years. So I think that really that I will find it very hard if that will become the only reason why some municipalities want to say that they can't partake in this initiative. And I think that the approach by the executive mayor and the municipal manager to further engage, I think that from our side, at least from the district, be genuine in terms of further engaging them. Just a question, Speaker, on the recommendation on page 202. Is there any particular reason where we still want to use the word in principle? Why don't we say the council supports the concept? In principle, always have another connotation that we might change our mind later. That's how I normally read in principle. I think that we are already at the stage where I believe that we are supporting this initiative and we are driving it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Chokolo.
Yes, thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I think this is a brilliant idea. I think it needs to be supported by all of us. I would agree with the mayor that I think at the district, in principle, we agree on it, but I think the bees really need to be taken into confidence about this. And I think Councillor De Vries has covered me about also explaining it to the other bees, how the criteria will be and things like that. I think it will go a long way, but I do understand this is just a start. And also looking at, but to say Councillor De Vries 49.5 over 3 years for other municipalities, looking at the situations that they are now, might be difficult. But yeah, I think we do need to take these engagements forward. And I also want to point out, some of these items in some municipalities, they come and you have a situation whereby the money, the change, you make a follow-up. There's supposed to be an item that comes about water services. No, I'm still new, I'll look for it. Then that manager goes again in 3 months. So that's the other situation that other municipalities find themselves. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Chokolo.
He was referring to Neisner.
Otherwise, I'm seconding my mayor, Speaker. Yes.
Yeah. Speaker.
I see Councillor Harris would like to come in.
Thank you, Chair. I missed a little bit because I was outside. I just want to know the other B municipalities, are there some of them that have their own food banks or whatsoever? And how can we engage the National Department, except Agriculture, any other state department that deals also with, in a way, with food security?
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Our municipal manager.
Thank you, Speaker. During the hard lockdown, what we came to witness in the garden is that there are no facilities like food banks in the region. And the methods that we were employing in buying food parcels have proven to be unsustainable. That's why then the decision has been made that we should have a sustainable solution. And these presentations were made to the DCF by the Red Cross and the various NGOs to say, this is what we are doing, can work together, hence the MOU. Indeed, we are engaging the provincial government, NGOs and everybody, because the idea is that, what happens during the lockdown, the stealing of food parcels, the lack of transparency in the distribution, as the councillor has been saying, the lack of criteria, have exposed all of us that these efforts are not sustainable. But over and above that, the idea is that the communities themselves must be able to have their own gardens where they can sustain themselves over time. So in times of crisis, we will be able to have a central point where all donations, all contributions to food parcels should be channeled to in a transparent way and be reported on. And this then can then be moved to local municipalities. I know that Pito municipality at some point had already done a similar activity, albeit for a short time. So there is an experience that can be learned from them in terms of dealing with a disaster situation. So we are engaging the provincial and national governments, the various departments, social development, and there is a move. If you saw this week or last week, the Premier of the Western Cape visiting some of the community gardens where people are trying to cultivate their own foods to ensure that there's sustainability. So the idea here is to ensure that we take away all these loopholes that we've seen during the hard lockdown and ensure that there is fair distribution to the people that are in need, so that these people can be, you can exercise oversight as councillors on what is happening in that bank, where are these donations going, who are the beneficiaries, and so on, so that nobody comes back to blame councillors and say you are giving your colleagues, your political party members, and all those things. So that is the idea, and those are the engagements we're having. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Ma'am. Brianna.
Mr. Africa, and then Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Mr. Africa. Good day to you too, Mr. Africa. And then Councillor.
Yes, thank you, Speaker and councillors and officials. We do have the service provider, Carl van Blerk, is also invited to this meeting. He can do a 7-minute presentation just to maybe empower the councillors if they have to report or to make comments at the presentation that we are planning at their municipalities, Speaker. So if you can indulge me, then Mr. van Blerk can just do a 7-minute presentation just to explain, you know, the MOU and the contents thereof. With your permission, Speaker.
Fine. It's fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Africa. Please do.
Very good day. Before I begin, Mr. Speaker, can I just confirm that my audio is working effectively?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. May I have permission to share screen as well, please?
Yes, please. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Give me 1 second, just to make sure that it's connecting. All right. Just like to thank the executive mayor, municipal manager, and the councillors for this opportunity. Hopefully on your screen right now, you'll see slide 1, and then I'll work through, as Mr. Africa says, I've got about 7 minutes, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions thereafter. So Winston Churchill once said, not to let a crisis go to waste. In challenging times, such as the one we are currently facing, rapid solutions are needed. The answers may well be found outside of the usual compass. Today, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to the culmination of many years of work, experience, and dedication to the cause of hunger relief during my tenure as a member of Lions Clubs International, where I've served as the charter president of the Eden Lions Club, as a district governor for South Africa, as well as the pinnacle of my experience as the Global Action Service area leader for the continent of Africa, India, South Asia, and the Middle East. Food security is hard. It is one of the most challenging of services to provide, as it's expensive to sustain, it's susceptible to corruption, it's challenging to administer, and all of this, especially during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. The reality is that we cannot let the difficulty of providing a critical life resource be a reason not to provide for those who are in need, but rather to embrace this as an opportunity to put in place systems that not only provide during a time of disaster, but one that can be a long-term lifeline for the garden route. We are already fortunate to have many volunteer organizations around the garden route, such as those depicted here and many others as well, who provide much needed aid in fundraising and distribution of food when the need arises. But volunteer organizations have many restrictions that prohibit their ability to plan ahead and source nutritional food that can aid, even outside of the times when disaster strikes. For this reason, the need for the region to have a permanently established food bank facility is not only critical, but it's long overdue. With that in mind, I'd like to present to you the Garden Route Food Pantry. It's a facility that is already more than simply a concept and is immediately available with the support of this forum. The memorandum of understanding that is presented is based on the reality that a food bank is not an income generating facility, as the focus is providing nutritional food to those who cannot afford to pay for it. Over the course of time, various systems can be put in place to source financial aid and donations, but the facility needs to be present and proving itself to be relevant before investment can be sought. A successful food pantry needs to operate on various levels. Simply sourcing food is not enough. We also need to encourage our residents to be self-sufficient and assisting them to meet this objective. With that in mind, allow me to break down a few of the programs that the Garden Route Food Pantry will provide. First of all, emergency food packs, traditional 3-day and 7-day parcels to assist at times when requirement for distribution to the local communities. Sourcing goods at bulk rates and packing locally allows us to be cost efficient. Secondly, high protein and energy meals. The need for dry foods that require only water to prepare is critical and proven to be successful when people are not getting the nutrients, vitamins, and energy required daily. The food pantry will start off by sourcing some of these goods at bulk rates. However, many will be packed locally in the pantry using an extensive volunteer system, as well as employment of staff. Thirdly, a donations depot. The facility will act as a depot for the receiving, processing, and distribution of goods from donor sources. This will include NGO organizations such as Food Forward, Rise Against Hunger, as well as companies such as Pick n Pay, Checkers, Spar, etc. These goods can then be assessed for safety, prepared into ready-cooked meals by our partner organizations such as Super Kitchens, as well as distributed uncooked through food parcels. Then number 4, soup kitchen support. The food pantry will endeavor to database all the feeding facilities around the Garden Route. This will include soup kitchens, play schools, churches, etc. This database, divided into levels that signify their financial resources, will then be used to offer support. For example, we'll also look at corporate adopter feeding center programs. We're also looking at a super muffin, in fact, a super biscuit as well. We are already working with the Cape Peninsula University of Technology in developing 2 products for manufacturing the Garden Route. With the assistance of a local bakery, these larger than standard sized muffins and biscuits will be fortified with all the essential vitamins and minerals that provide for healthy growth and nutritional requirements. These will be available to all play schools, emergency feeding centers, in fact, anywhere that we find a need for quick and easy nutritional requirements. The cost will be minimal and we'll endeavor to have them sponsored as much as possible. We also do the living pantry. Now, the living pantry involves the establishment of permaculture and aquaponic gardens throughout the communities. We have drawn in experts who have set up a training facility in the region, drawing a team of champion gardeners who are trained in the processes of setting up and maintaining of the gardens, and then ensuring maximum success to harvest. The incentive comes from the result of produce which is harvested. And then excess goods will be brought to the food pantry where the gardeners are then able to trade for alternate goods, whether it be food, toiletries, essential items, and possibly even electricity tokens. We also work, the Living Pantry Gardening Project has also begun, has already been activated and training has already begun. A local school in George has also begun a seed collection project for non-GMO heirloom seeds. This involves our younger generation in fostering critical thinking skills in real-life problem solving. The MOU that has been presented to you reflects an amount of 55,000 Rand per month, a minimal budget that will assist us in securing a suitable premises out of which to run the centralized facility, as well as some very basic running costs. This allows the food pantry to have full-time employees and a secure budget for the next 3 years. after which it'll be self-sufficient in acquiring its own funds from product sales and donations. All the financials relating to the purchase of goods, the donations received, will be run through our NPC, ECHO, which is the Eden Community Hope Outreach, and audited for transparency. ECHO was set up as a locally managed NGO in 2014 to address needs in the community. The Garden Route Food Bank is the most critical of these needs, and in time, ECHO will branch out to other areas of need, such as education and trading programs, as well as an awareness program around medical conditions that are rife in our communities. ECHO is therefore a suitable vehicle from where to drive the food pantry. In addition to mapping the entire Garden Route's formal and informal feeding programs to ensure an equitable distribution of goods as and when required, it'll be the task of the Garden Route Food Pantry to build a database of local service providers throughout the region. By doing this, we can contribute towards local economic development and focus our purchase of food requirements from suppliers in our own region. When a disaster strikes, which we have seen our fair share of over the past few years, there's no need to be transporting goods into the region from Cape Town, Gauteng, etc., when we have the resources at our disposal and can rather support local business. The range of farmers, factories, and food producers across the Garden Route municipality is vast. Separating the want from the need becomes an automatic process when food resources are appropriate and delivered in unison with the community and its leaders. I look forward to fostering a relationship with our local municipalities and taking hands with the various NGO organizations located around the Garden Route to address not so much food aid, but rather food security. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to take any further questions.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, can I come in?
Just a second. Can I ask everyone just to mute themselves? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Carl van Blyk. I don't have to accuse myself on this item, but I'm a past president of the Potchefstroom Rotary Club, and I also saw their emblem. But yes, I'm proud also still of Rotary International. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I share the sentiments shared by Alderman De Vries, and I so agree with the presenter. This has got nothing to do with affordability and who's going to gain what, etc. There are things that we just need to find the money for, and there are things that we just need to do. And Mr. Speaker, and we must get into the mode where we don't take decisions that's going to affect us as councillors. Our decisions should be based on the broader community and in terms of the emergency that we're experiencing and in terms of what is best going forward. We can find monies to do a lot of other things. This is actually the thing where each and every municipality should find money, even if we have to cut down on, we need to cut the fat for this to happen. We need to cut on nice to have for this to happen. So I agree with Councillor De Vries that money and budgetary constraints should not even arise. It is the bigger picture and it is saving the community. Thank you. And this is what I will convey when I have the opportunity to see the bees face to face.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Rihanna. Councillor Spies. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. My leader has perfectly encompassed what I wanted to say. And thank you, Mr. Van Blyk, for your presentation. Yes, I would like to implore my colleagues, the big delegates, to please, when you go back to your councils and specifically to your caucuses across party lines, this is not a nice to have vanity project. It is a dire necessity. The schools are going to close in December. We have no indication from the education department whether they're going to follow through on feeding schemes at schools during that period. We have to avert a a tragedy and a crisis. So please, that's all I want to add to what the mayor has said. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Any further comment, input?
I apologize to interrupt. May I make one further statement or comment?
Thank you, Mr. Van Black. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to mention, and thank you very much for the support from your side, first of all. There is one concern I have, and I think it's one that all of you will share and probably almost irrelevant for me to mention, but time is of the essence. And I do understand, and I do completely understand and respect the process that has to be followed, that we do this correctly. So I know time is required. I have been working in the food relief for quite some time already now through my affiliation to the Lions and the food bank. We've already started processes there. We are literally getting people on a daily basis, every single day. They are not hungry, they are starving. They are starving to death. So my biggest concern is the time frame. We need to move on it very quickly. I cannot start sourcing goods until I'm able to get the facility, which is waiting and ready. I visit it every week. There's a warehouse standing waiting, but I cannot take occupation of it until we have the finance to pay the rent on it. So again, I thank you for your urgency on it, and just want to reiterate that it is something that we need to get going quite quickly. Thank you very much.
Mr. Carl van Black, from our side, from the speaker side, we would just like to thank you for your service above self. Hunger can wait. Today is the 30th of September. When did COVID start? And we know that the job losses, I mean, 2.1 million people have lost their jobs. I'm not going to refer to the other percentage figures today. But thank you so much, Mr. Van Black. We really appreciate what you're doing and with your partners, and as well as you being able to present to us today at the Garden Route as well. Thank you so much, and we're wishing you Godspeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, colleague councillors. Can we now proceed? We've got a proposal and a seconder. Yep. And I really think speed is on the essence. You cannot tell somebody that's hungry that no, we must still have some resolutions that needs to be taken, blah, blah. Thank you.
Speaker, I would like to propose that we accept this.
Thank you. There is a question from Councillor Harris with the amendment. Can we get clarity on the issue, Emin? For Secretariat? Yeah.
There were no specific amendments on the recommendations. There was emphasis on the discussion that moving forward, we have to then transparency on the criteria and the distribution. So in the actual recommendations, they still stand. Thank you.
Thank you. We get a thumbs up. Thank you, Emin. And I think that also goes for the amount that's being mentioned there. Thank you. Can we then move? Thank you. Can we just 1 minute? Can everybody just stand up? I need to. And I need to wash my hands, but I'll use my sanitizer if that will assist. Thank you. Thank you. I think the oxygen returned to our brains, not that it's lifted. Thank you very much. Can we then do item G1? F2, sorry, F2, update report on the actions taken by the District COVID-19 Command Council to address the COVID-19 pandemic, pages 238 to 307. Then you've got the report. I would just like to know, are we expecting a presentation or just a report? Short one?
With your permission, because there is always changes on the actual data that is contained in the report, we request that you allow Mr. Gerard Otto to make a short 2-page summary of what is the latest information on what is on the report in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, because I would feel very guilty to think, or let people think perhaps, that we don't see this as extremely important still. And that ons nooit sal moet slap lê. Thank you, Mr. Gerard Otto. Are you ready?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, all councillors and Mr. Mayor. From my side, maybe just to start off, I'm going to start off with the questions asked this morning at the MACO in terms of specifically what are we going to do to address the people in terms of law enforcement. I've actually taken it up with the SAPS, SANDF, Department of Labour, and the law enforcement officials at the local municipalities to align their activities going forward, as well as their special blitzes. I can indicate to Councillor for Neisner, there's going to specifically a blitz coming in the next couple of days to look at the lawlessness in terms of the adhering to the health protocols. So that's just to start off with. Maybe to give you a rundown of where we are today, as of today, the latest figures for COVID. The total for the district is on 9,940, and I'm going to reflect this to what it was on the 24th of August. 24th of August, we had a total of 8,582. So that's an increase of 1,388 additional COVID positive cases for the district of patients, which is a 16% increase over the last 5 weeks. Fortunately, if we compare that to the amount of active cases at this point in time, which for the district now is 327, and if I compare that to what it was on the 24th of August, we were over 1,000, and if we drill this down to per 100,000 of population, in total now we have 173 active cases per 100,000 of population. Sorry, we were that in August. Now we've got 62 active cases, and if we compare this to the Western Cape figure, they are on 35 active cases per 100,000 population. So there was a decrease, a drastic decrease from 5 weeks ago, but still we're not where the rest of the Western Cape is, which is at 35 active cases per 100,000 of population. Now looking at each of the local municipal areas, and I'm just going to highlight the two which is still keeping me awake at night. First, it was Oudtshoorn. For the beginning of September, there was a sharp increase and we did a lot of efforts. We got the SANDF involved, and they worked quite hard in the Oudtshoorn area. At this point, Oudtshoorn is the second highest when it comes to active cases per 100,000 of population. Oudtshoorn has got 97, and then the highest now is Neisner, and they actually showed an increase over the last 2-3 days. So what was reflected by the the councillors in those areas that they see people who are not adhering to their health protocols, we can also see that in the active cases in that area. Then looking at the fatalities in our district, we were on the 24th of August, we were in a total of fatalities for the district at 273. We are now, as for today, at 358. So that is an increase of 16% over the last 5 weeks. The area that also is again an area of concern for us is the Oudtshoorn area, because if you look at the fatalities in the Oudtshoorn area, they are the most at 6.46% of people that contract COVID losing their lives. I've requested the Department of Health to specifically look at the fatalities in Oudtshoorn and to give us a report of why theirs is higher than the rest of the district, if we look at the rest of the district being much lower. So the average for fatalities in the district is at 3.5% in the district. So yeah, Oudtshoorn is exceeding that. Then most of the patients that died, we can also still see that they've got comorbidities in the majority of those patients. And fortunately, at this point, our hospitals and admission to hospitals looks very good. If we reflect on the 25th of August, we were reporting to council that it's still a very high number of people in hospitals. At this point in time, most of the hospitals in the district is on 50% or less, and some of them is even decreasing their bed capacity in terms of COVID-19 beds. And then, yeah, we are continuing our awareness, educating everyone and in terms of COVID-19. But yeah, the focus will now be on also addressing law enforcement in areas where people is now not adhering to the rule. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Otto. Thank you. Can we take note with appreciation of this report?
We take note, Chair.
Thank you very much. Seconder, that we take note.
Speaker, I just have a question. If I may.
Thank you, Van der Hoeven, please proceed.
Speaker, if you go to page 247, it reflects lots and lots of it doesn't show any. I'm not at that page now, but it does not show any positive cases. Lots of screens and lots of testing that took place, but no positive cases. Is that what does that say?
Thank you, Alderman van Hoeven. Gerard, Mr. Otto, can you please respond to that?
Yes, Speaker. That is basically just the screening that was done, and then they are referred for testing. But the outcome of those testing, we can update this figure for the next report so that we can indicate those that was referred, for instance, in Kranshoek for testing, how many of them tested positive. We do not get that specifics from the Department of Health. We can just indicate that they were referred for testing, and then it gets added to the total. But the breakdown, we can request the Department of Health for our next report to give us a breakdown of each of those that was referred for testing, which tested positive.
Are you covered, Alderman van Hoeven?
I am covered, Speaker. I am covered. I also just want to, there's waste management. There's a reference to waste management as a risk. I'm asking, is that only medical waste, or is it, does that refer to the huge illegal dumping that's taking place all over, specifically in George?
Thank you, Gerard. Mr. Otto.
Speaker, yeah, it's not only medical waste, it's the illegal dumping and the addressing of the illegally dumped waste. That is the relation. That's exactly why they was started in the George area with this project in terms of addressing the illegally dumped waste. But it's more than only the medical waste, it's in general.
Thank you.
If I may, can I have a follow-up? As a strategic enabler in the district, can't the district do something to the municipalities who neglect this responsibility completely, Speaker? I don't need an answer, but surely we need to do something about that.
Thank you, Alderman. Municipal Manager.
Thank you, Speaker. Indeed, I think the councillor is correct, and this council has already approved a project.
Yeah.
I think in the last council meeting or so, in terms of which the district is intervening and assisting in the dealing with this particular risk of waste management in the various areas. We've started in George, Kimberley to Pakastor. So the project, with the resources permitting, has to be extended throughout the region. We are working with local municipalities to assist. We have noted quite some improvement in Oudtshoorn. Apparently, there was a project that was undertaken there, and I think Pito has recently also acquired a lot of plant and machinery for tippers and loaders and all that. And this is exactly what we're asking municipalities to do. But we're working with all the LMs as the report that was approved previously says. Thank you.
Thank you, Municipal Manager.
Speaker, can I have a second bite of the cherry?
Thank you. I don't know what's left of the cherry, but you can try it.
No, I think there's still a huge cherry left, Speaker, because I may. So I'll have my second bite. Thank you for that, Speaker. It's not just Thembalethu, it's all over George, but it's specifically lately in Blanco. I've seen pictures to the media which I don't publish, but there are open electric cables lying in areas in Blanco. There are huge piles, and it's getting worse and worse on a daily basis. Speaker, surely we as a district can't just leave it. I'm reporting it and I'm asking that action be taken. It's a uterus, but it's not just Blanco and Tembeletu, it's all over George. But specifically, I'm deployed now in Blanco, so I take note of that. And that's not a problem, it's a crisis, it's a huge crisis. Can we please, Speaker, come to the party and help us to sort this thing out?
Thank you.
Because the George municipality is doing nothing about it.
That's it. Thank you, Alderman. Amen.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillors, we are quite aware about the situation. As part of our efforts, we have also submitted a complete business plan to the provincial government for assistance. But I think we must always, all of us, be reminded that this function remains a local municipality function. So the local municipalities, I think councillors, we have to put pressure in your councils that they must plan accordingly and prioritize their resources according to the need. But we will not leave our responsibility as a strategic enabler, Councillor van der Hoeven, to Speaker. We will ensure that we use our limited resources to assist everywhere, including areas we have not specifically mentioned.
Thank you so much, Municipal Manager Rihanna. Councillor Chaba, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, is it possible that you can get gender-based violence statistics? Or is it at this moment difficult? Because we've been asking that at least from the COVID perspective, that we get those stats, we start to work on the stats, and then we get to implement. Is it possible so that we can understand the picture on the district and also which are hotspots, so that you can also start to work on the ground? Is it possible?
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. I'm aware of that. Can take you exactly to a spot. I don't know if it's a hot spot or what, but thank you. I see the Municipal Manager is burning to say something. Please do, Municipal Manager.
No, Speaker, I'm not burning. I share the frustration.
Yeah.
And it's very important, because for us to understand what we're dealing with, we must know data that is specific in terms of statistics. However, Speaker, gender-based violence is a criminal offense activity, and remains the realm of the South African Police Service. So they are the custodians of the statistics. So we depend on them. It is possible to obtain the statistics when they release them. Other than that, you know, the minister is keeping the stats to themselves. So until such time that they release them, that's only when we can obtain statistics. However, if there could be a particular national directive from the executive that says they must be released as COVID statistics, that can happen. I think the only thing we can do at the forums where we said we can lobby that maybe the politicians that have influence can ask that those statistics be released, just like COVID statistics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Municipal Manager. Councillor Chaba, I'll join your march anytime. I think it's your request, Councillor Taylor, to lift his hat, to let it out. Thank you. Can we move then to, can we accept it, adopt this update report, F2?
Yes, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. Can we then move to items from the Roads and Transport Planning Services Department? Item G1, pages 308 to 311, appointment of the Municipal Manager in terms of Section 4 of the Mine Health and Safety Act, Act 29 of 1996, Road Services Department. Can we approve the appointment? G1.
Mr. Speaker, it's me, the Mayor. Can I come in?
Please say again.
It's the
Councillor-
mayor and Alderman van der Werven. It's can I go first? Mr.
Yes.
Speaker, may I go first?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All right, Mr. Speaker, give over to Alderman van der Werven. I'm fine.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven.
Sorry, Mayor. I take instructions from the speaker, not from the mayor in this regard.
Okay, I withdraw my instruction.
Okay.
Speaker, now I'll wait for the speaker to allow me to speak. Thank you, Speaker. First of all, Speaker, is this a compliance issue, or is there extra remuneration for the MM involved here?
There's net nog 'n bietjie hooi op sy vark. It's just a little additional
If
wat
it's,
noem
if
jy
it's
hooi
a
nou?
if it's a compliance issue and we have to comply with that with legislation, then I will support it full out, 100%. Thank you, Speaker. And we know the job is going to do a good job as he is already doing.
There you've got it. Thank you so much. We've got a proposal and a seconder, and I wish we had more time so that I give my good young advocate next to me to explain the Latin delegare, delegere, non potest. It's that you cannot delegate without giving the authority to further delegate. Delegare, delegare, non contest. So it means that you cannot delegate without authority of us giving you that authority to delegate. That's the purpose of this report, the way I see it as well. Am I right, advocate? Amen? Yeah, the oom se brein werk nog so bitter, ja. Sorry, thank you. Can we then move to H1? Councillor Chaba. Thank you, Councillor Chaba. Thank you. There's a want. Woo! Okay. Can we move to G1? No, we've done that. We move to H1, the feedback report on the previous coordinating forum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I may, with your permission.
Thank you, Councillor Lambertine. Executive, I think, Mr. Mayor, can I ask that you move a little bit closer to your mic? You almost sound like Councillor Lambertine to me now.
Oh, all right, sorry, Mr. Speaker. Am I audible now?
That sounds more like my wawa. I think, yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's indeed Mawawa. Mr. Speaker and councillors and officials, I had the privilege to present in this forum, the Premier's coordinating forum, similar to what I did when I reported to the National Portfolio Standing Committee. And Mr. Speaker, in my presentation, I had to deal with what are we going to do as the district in terms of post-COVID-19 economic recovery plan. It comes back to the issues that has been raised by Councillor Mapitiza in terms of what is in the pipeline that would turn the economy around going forward to post-COVID-19. And one of the issues, and again, Mr. Speaker, I laid out in terms of our intentions, and if we get the right accreditations, what that would do to the economy from within our own capabilities, and that includes what we're all aware of. If we get the accreditation to become a water services authority, the jobs that would come with that when we're able to raise funds within those fields, the level 1 accreditation of human settlements, all of that, Mr. Speaker, and the previous council approvals in terms of projects like in Mossel Bay, etc., etc. Now, Mr. Speaker, just to fast forward, all of that are excellent on paper. And one of the issues that came up is that when are we landing these things and how will we be landing these things? And the Premier also highlighted the issue, Mr. Speaker, that when it comes to capital expenditure, he is not happy with all the municipalities within the Western Cape. So we are no exception to that. And the plea is we now need to go into overdrive with our own capital investments. And Mr. Speaker, if one looks at what we have in the pipeline, it is all capital projects. And again, it's taking us back to the drawing board where we need to make a conscious decision, Mr. Speaker and councillors, where we sit down with the municipal manager, we sit down with the CFO, and we look in terms of where can we make the first move in terms of everything that we've set ourselves out to achieve. And if we have to, in Afrikaans they say slaan jou sit jou hand in jou eie boesem. If we have to go into our own kitty, the Premier is saying we need to do just that, because what we presenting to the world is that if we make the move, money will follow. The first thing here with what we've got in the pipeline is jobs, 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 and with jobs, you stimulate the economy. And if you stimulate the economy, investors will come. So everybody is saying we must stop putting the budget first in terms of we're scared to spend or we don't want to spend because we're going to run out within a year or so. Studies have shown that if you make the first move, if you show intent, the investors will come. So I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, and this was the gist of our presentation in the PCF, is that we now need to make our own moves. And I know that the CFO was going to lose some hair over this, but it is something which we need to engage on to see that when can we make the first move instead of fearing the future or fearing the unknown. We know if you start spending, your kitty runs low. But if we spend correctly, it might turn around issues in terms of creating jobs and in terms of luring investors, because we have shown intent. So that was the gist of the PCF, and that was the response of the Premier, that it all looks good and everybody is very hopeful in terms of the prospects within the Garden Route. There are things that are not just within our own basket. You look at the oil and gas explorations. You look at the potential of EXA with the airport, with the harbor in George. All of that, Mr. Speaker, it is all good, but we now need to take our jackets off and roll up our sleeves. And if we have $1 million or two, we need to put it in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Councillor Mpatisa.
Can you hear me, Speaker?
Yes, I can hear you. Please proceed.
Oh, thank you, Speaker. I don't know, is it? I see on the report that the governing party in the Western Cape on the very same report. Mayor, you correct me, or if you are aspiring for us to move into a different form of administration in South Africa, wherein you refer to the PCF as a prime minister's coordinating forum. That's on a lighter note, Speaker. Speaker,
my apologies.
One welcome. Okay, one welcome the contribution by the Garden Route to the PCF. Indeed, it represents the interest of this district, because I observe on the summary of the PCF on the Garden Route, they prioritize the issue of the food security, which is next to my heart. Because, Speaker, food security is a backbone of every nation. When one went to China, Speaker, 2 years ago, we asked the Chinese what would be the threat into their fast-growing economy. They said it's food security. Out of their population, if all those people could get hungry, the country will collapse, the economy will collapse. So that's a starting point for me, for us to focus on, especially since the pandemic, this pandemic, Speaker, the nutrition demands that the communities are able to feed themselves through a sustainable agricultural programs, and which is, I think, that's what the both national and provincial government are advocating for. Speaker, my other side is this. I don't know whether I could not pick it up on the report. Is that almost all the local municipalities in the district, they are embattled by service delivery protests, with residents demanding adequate infrastructural services. Again, the Garden Route District municipality is on the right path when on its endeavors of being a housing service provider for the district, because those are the basic things that most of the local municipalities are unable to expedite and respond promptly to the communities. So, Speaker, I want to urge the Executive Mayor that at the next PCF to lobby for more resources for the infrastructural projects in the main, your housing and so on, so that we as my Alderman Chief Whip, that district municipality as an enabler, and if the province believes in us, and they should stop at nothing in ensuring that we get the necessary resources, because by doing so, we'll be making a meaningful contribution to reinstate the dignity of the people living in the informal settlements across the district. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mapitiza.
Mr. Speaker, if I may have a second bite, please.
Yes, please, Executive Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker and everybody present, I omitted to mention that tomorrow afternoon I'll be part of a delegation that will engage the National Minister of Finance, Minister Tito Mboweni, and some of the issues which came out in the PCF, I will use the opportunity to bring it under his attention. Case in point, in the presentations in the PCF, is that we will not survive without events. The Garden Route is known for events. All these local municipalities, they specialize in different kind of events over different periods within the seasons of the year. And again, the elephant in the room is the cost containment regulations. But those who managed to listen in when the municipalities were making presentations to the National Standing Committee, if one looks at what's happening within the other municipalities, they go on business as usual. It's only us in the Western Cape who are taking the law to the letter. And other municipalities are saying they're doing what would make the economy stick. They don't give a bar of soap of what the audit outcomes will indicate regarding events. And I think I will raise this with Tito Mboweni tomorrow and say that, look, man, it's either he withdraw those regulations or we'll live with the AG. But we can't not have events. And an example in point, Ernie Els wants to know what is happening with these discussions with us. You know, and it's going to be a world-class event. It's going to be an annual event. It will bring in more golfers than the Garden Route has ever seen. So Tito needs to know this. And when I come back, we need to take the decision in terms of, are we going to wear our raincoats for the AG as long as we can account, but events needs to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. And Strongs for tomorrow. We wish you well, and we know that you're punching in the heavyweight division. And we know that we've also been brought up to say, the more you give, the more you'll have to give. But thank you so much, Executive Mayor, from my side, from the chair side. And thank you for the contributions by all councillors also in this regard. And I think we should use a loudspeaker of this report that we've just considered, so that everybody can know where do we come from. Ons ken ons kom vandaan. We know where we're coming from. We know where we are, and we know exactly where we would like to go to. Thank
Speaker,
you.
before you step off on the point, my hand is up.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Speaker, in addition to the issue that the Executive Mayor raised around the cost containment regulations, the other elephant in the room is public-private partnerships and the regulations that we currently have to adhere to. Now, the district development model in the President's first two speeches indicate where you talk about partnerships between private sector and government, and also in terms of the private sector and business, in terms of partnerships, but also in terms of local procurement. Now, we know that currently the regulatory framework and policy framework doesn't actually allow that. And I think that that is a point that the Executive Mayor, in his deliberations in the PCF or even in the Presidential Coordinating Council, and also with where we engage on behalf of SALGA, that it's one point that we should strongly raise. Because if we don't change that, we're going to lose a lot of opportunities, even at this stage where business want to partner with us as government. So I think that that should be something on his agenda, and also all of us in our different political parties. That's a point that we should drive, that we won't be able to realize the intent of the President's district approach if we have those things that are still restricting us in terms of trying to achieve that. The other point, Executive Mayor, look in terms of our projects that we have identified, I think that between yourself and the executive and the municipal manager, ongoing engagements to ensure that we have our 7 Bs with us all the way. Because I think that one of the, based on some of the previous discussions and issues that we have the joint in terms of where discussions and decisions are being made and when it comes to implementation. And also as a whole, as a council, where we, and those of us that serve in B municipalities, that we actually ensure that the discussions and decisions at the DCF level and other forums that and other spaces that was created by the district, that we see implementation, because that is also going to hinder us in terms of implementing some of the projects that was identified, and some of them actually agreed with by the other executive mayors. And we still seems to have this thing, and I want to be careful also, but I have to say this, that there is sometimes the juncture between the politics and the administration. While it seems you have consensus amongst the political establishment across the district, it seems still that our administration at the different levels actually get it right to derail those plans. And that is something that we need to see how we can address. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck with all these wonderful ideas and we won't be able to move forward. And our local municipalities must understand there's no way that they're going to get out of this COVID-19 economic crisis that we're currently in alone. We will have to work as a district, and it seems based on your reports and that of the that even at the national level, there is an intent actually to invest and assist us as the Garden Route. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I've made notes of those comments, and I will definitely put it on my discussions for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both aldermen. Telling it like it is, yeah. Vice versa as well. But thank you so much. Can we move on this item? And again, Executive Mayor, you are in our prayers, and we're wishing you well tomorrow with those discussions and those meetings that you're going to have. Thank you very much, everyone, for your input. Can we note it? And we're going to use a loudspeaker on this item so that everybody can know about it, what's going to happen. Thank you. We've dealt with H1, H2. H2 is the dispute of Garden Route District Municipality properties. Can I rephrase it? The alleged dispute of Garden Route Municipality properties by Knysna Municipality. Because if I read our municipal manager's letter, and I would like to congratulate him on formulating that letter and the way he wrote it and sent it, and I'm going to say it. Ons is nie Jannie jammer dat dit nie. We do have muscle, and we stand for fairness. And please, can we proceed to any input on H2, pages 363 to 419? Any input?
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's Councillor Lambertine.
No, it's me, the Mayor, Mr. Speaker.
Indeed, the Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Yeah, my apologies for the sound of my voice. And I'm also speaking over earphones, Mr. Speaker, because of my location. Mr. Speaker, I'm just gonna go, or let me start with this before I go back in history. Mr. Speaker, firstly, we do believe, and it's always been our intention as this administration, that we want to coexist with the B municipalities. We don't want to exist at the expense or crushing a B municipality. So we're not going to allow a B municipality to do the same to us in terms of stripping us or trying to strip us to our own detriment. We're not going to allow that. And also, Mr. Speaker, just to remind everyone, it was one of the first things we did in 2016 was to engage all the municipalities in terms of our intentions regarding our properties within their jurisdictions. Knysna was the same. We went to Knysna, we engaged with the previous mayor. At that time, it was Mayor Bo Spies, and with her MM at the time, we agreed in the way forward. And when Mark Willemse took over the mayorship, again we went and we with his new MM, and we agreed on our previous discussions with Councillor Bo Spies. And now with this mayor is the fourth mayor, because even with Councillor Tengwa at the time, we again revived the discussions. Now this is a total surprise to us, Mr. Speaker, that Knysna is taking this route. But out of experience, Mr. Speaker, and this is where I want to come back, we had the same issues with Mossel Bay. They went full Monty with the IGR route in terms of disputes. The minister responded, and we had a second bite, so much so that we've reached 99% agreement. It's just now a pity that the current mayor in Mossel Bay is on sick leave. We just need him to put the final draft in front of him, and it will then go to Mossel Bay's municipality, that all disputes will then be resolved with Mossel Bay, and it's a win-win for both municipalities. And it is our intention with Knysna as well. There are properties, Mr. Speaker, that Knysna would benefit the most out of it in terms of their municipal functions. Those kind of properties, Mr. Speaker, it has always been our intent that they can use it to the best of their ability. But there are win-win properties where we can coexist. And as Councillor De Vries has put it, the triple P route. We can coexist with Province, we can coexist with Knysna and ourselves and make these things happen. But the long and short, Mr. Speaker, we are not going to sit back and let Knysna think that those properties belongs to them. And even out of our deliberations with the Minister of Local Government in the province, he bases decisions on what is registered in the deeds office. And currently what Knysna is disputing are properties registered in our names. but we're willing to partner with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Any input, further input, Councillor? Thank you, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Please proceed.
1, 2. I
I'm
just
hearing.
want to ask an uninformed question, and because I'm new, I just want to know whether the district municipality have done any land audit within the district to identify their own pieces or pockets of land. Because as we are aware is that in various towns, certain parcels or pieces of land belongs to state parastatals, provincial government, national government, etc. So do we have a asset register where we can say, look, these are our properties within the region, and we can put a value to it? Because like for instance, 1 month or 2 months back, there was an issue about land here at Victoria Bay, where there was a dispute or uncertainty to whom does that piece of land belong. Does it belong to the district or does it belong to George Municipality? As well as there was exchanges of pieces of land where we say we're going to give this piece of land to municipality B, and they are going to give a certain portion of their land to us. So just for me to have a understanding and to prevent any other further disputes when it comes to property of the district or property of the municipalities. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Councillor Harris. Councillor Harris, no, sorry, MM, I think the reports served before this district municipality, and we can just share those reports with you as well for the information contained there. Thank you very much. MM, is that fine?
Speaker.
MM? I'm listening.
Speaker.
Councillor Mapatiza.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. My hand was up. I'm sure if you were one of those semi-retired teachers at school, you would have done an injustice for me.
I'm sorry if I would have done what?
The
ontgroenen. Inauguration.
Injustice for me because you would have yeah. Speaker, I was moved by the spirit of his input earlier at the beginning of the meeting, when you were saying we must take a collective responsibility as councillors from the various from the different parties, in especially municipality. I would have wanted to check with them, in particular those councillors seconded from B serving on at the district municipality. Nice not to be specific, because it's in that same spirit that as a district municipality that the executive alluded, or that we should have a mutual understanding. Municipal manager, the letter that he has written, it's your type of Kofi Annan letter that he would write to one of those countries that are at war, and calm himself and be able to provide leadership. I think I want to applaud him on that. Because under the circumstances, if I were to, the conduct would be a different tone. And Speaker, I mean, I think I would be amongst the first group of councillors to support that. Let's defend what is rightfully ours, and we cannot lose this prime piece of land that should generate revenue to this council. Furthermore, I would want to appeal to the administration to expedite the process of registering all parcels of land that belongs to the district municipality. And so that we're not dealing with these disputes or the chapter and know where we stand. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman Mapitisa. Now, my apologies. Unfortunately, or unfortunately, I was not a teacher, but my apologies. I didn't know that you would. I haven't seen. I can't see in your hands. I haven't received. I received an indication that you would like to speak of the previous item. My apologies that I couldn't see that you would like to come in. Our MM would like to respond. Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. And I think in the spirit of the Executive Mayor, we are going to continue to engage as we've been doing all along, as we say in the report. It's just disappointing that you deal with different people all the time and they come with different positions. Indeed, Speaker, we do have an assets register that reflects our properties. We have done extensive researches with consultants and with tabled here the PwC report. We, at the strategic session early this year, we also presented a report from a task team that clearly stated what belonged to us, what is the value, and what must be done. We can provide that information. Speaker, I want to speak to my councillors, the councillors of Garden Road District Municipal that employ me and give me mandates to do certain things. Because everything I do is based on council resolutions from here. Now, if you read on page 377, and I think the chief whips and the leadership can help us. The resolution in NISNA to write to us and tell us that we must transfer properties to them is taken unanimously, which means even those that are from Garden Road that sit in that council voted in favor of that resolution, conflicted as they were, because there's another resolution on the other side that speaks totally against this one. I don't know how, Speaker, this can be resolved because it puts us on the back foot. If our own councillors take unanimous decisions against what they've sent us to do, which is very difficult for us as the administration to implement. So, Speaker, through you, I'm talking to my own employers, my councillors, to say, when I'm asked to do something by way of a council resolution, I expect to be backed up by my own councillors, irrespective of where I must do it. So when this letter was sent to us with this attachment, it became very difficult for us to say, but what are we going to do now? Because it means in every other instruction we have received for council, that's why we're getting these kinds of responses from our colleagues, is because our voice or the voice of Garden Road doesn't permeate to the local councils. So that will reflect that when I arrive there, I'm not talking my own things, but it's stuff that has been agreed with. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, MM. Councillor Chikolo.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I just also want to say the MM must also understand that we're operating at a very complex situation in our different caucuses. So if a caucus takes a certain decision, even though if I don't agree with what the caucus decides, I'm bound by what the majority says in the caucus. So that's where the problem is. So if I can't convince my caucus, then the caucus will have to, I have to vote with the decision that the caucus is taking. So that's how the, that's where the problem is. So I can't go and vote against my caucus in the council meeting. Just because I'm also in the Garden Road District Municipality. That's where unanimous comes from. That's the problem. We operating within caucuses. We are not independent. Just to explain that, Speaker. Thanks.
Speaker, I want to assume there's no caucus at the district level.
Thank you. Thank you for...
Mr. Speaker, may I also come in, the Mayor?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, I like the 2 points raised by the MM and by Councillor Chokolo, and it just puts my mind into political overdrive. it puts me in a position, or it indicates that there also need to be political discussions if one is under the same umbrella. And it is something that I will strive us to pursue, where we don't have these conflict of interest, especially when there are political connotations to it. And it's something that I will pursue within all the various caucuses, which I am probably ex officio to, Mr. Speaker. But Councillor Chokolo is correct, but it's something that I know where we need to address this. But in the same vein, Mr. Speaker, we should not be naive, because out of all of these disputes, we have also uncovered that there were a lot of gentlemen's agreements behind this, which don't count in terms of what we're busy with. But probably depending on how far we're taking this fight, Mr. Speaker, we will have to deal with issues where municipal managers exchange these kinds of memorandums between them, Mr. Speaker, where a municipal manager wrote to another municipal manager and said that you can use that property. Now, where I'm sitting, Mr. Speaker, and it's not in our term of office, it's before us, but we came across this when we started digging in terms of why have the bees have these attitudes. Now, Mr. Speaker, from where I'm sitting, that mandate does not reside with municipal managers. And I also believe that depending on how far we take this, if we have to take the legal route, you can't execute what is not delegated to you. These are all council matters and council's decisions to make, and not municipal managers. Case in point, between the Garden Route and Beto, for some reason, a few years ago, municipal managers made these agreements that you can have that property and we transfer that property. But those are issues, depending on how hard this fight is, would have to come out sooner or later. And also consequences regarding that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Can we move on this item? Proposal on
Yes,
second.
Speaker, I propose.
Thank you. Proposed, is it Councillor Johnson? And seconded by Councillor
That's
Harris.
correct, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second, the Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you. Can we move to H3, pages 420 to 429? Feedback on the advertising of Council's intention on the long-term leasing progress on renewal of lease agreement for cell phone operators. Any input? Comments? None? Proposal seconder then?
I propose, Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, can I come in quickly? It's not
Please,
specifically related. May I
Please
come
do.
in, Mr. Speaker?
Thank you. Please do.
Mr. Speaker, it came to my attention we should also be on the watch out. There's a bill currently in Parliament where Parliament is discussing these things with telecommunication companies, where like towers, etc., where even if a tower is on a municipality's property, we might not have the decision making in terms of what should happen, who should pay what, etc. So we might get cut out if that bill at the end of the day see the light of day. But I don't know whether it's still under the radar. But as it's written, the cell phone companies where they having towers, they're going to own that piece of property. It's just something that the people in the legal space, please look it up. Thank you.
Speaker?
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillor Mapitisa.
Yes, Speaker. Perhaps we should then the Executive Mayor. Thanks for being vigilant. You must take it to. I suggest that if he takes it up with SALGA, and so that SALGA, as one of the legal entities representing municipalities, could also engage with the portfolio committee, so that the outcome is fairly representing us. Speaker, the other thing that I want to check on is that if my memory serves me well, there I cannot recall having a conclusion on, I see the report on the long-term lease. I cannot recall having a conclusion or a clear conclusion on the disputed amounts of money that were due to the garden route by the two service providers and so on. But if that matter has been addressed and concluded on, and bear with me. Secondly, I want to check on with
Sorry, Councillor Mapitisa,
Can
it's
I
on
continue?
bullet point 5.1.4. It's part of the recommendations.
All right. No, because what I want to, the second point I want to check is that when whether we cannot recoup the monies that are due to us, whether I see that the issue that was omitted there was the subletting clause that was not on the initial contract. And does that mean we've lost those amount of money that we could have recouped as a district? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mapitisa. Any input, comment? Clarity, fine. I can just mention the fact that on today's meeting at Mossel Bay agenda, earlier today, the start at 9, there's a well-researched report on the impact whatever signals could have on your house or not have on your house on these cell phone towers and stuff. Thank you. Can we have H3? There you've got the recommendation, Councillor Jocelyn. Did I hear you, or can I get some feedback on this proposal on seconder?
We did already propose, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Jocelyn.
I will second you, Councillor Jocelyn.
Thank you very much, Deputy Executive Mayor Lucina Reiters. Thank you, ma'am. We are now at H4. Report on the progress made in terms of the establishment of the Garden Route District Municipality as a water services authority. Executive Mayor, I don't know if you would like to present to us further information on this report.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, in my mother language, there's a term that says asijik. It means we're not turning back on this one, Mr. Speaker, because again, we see and we understand the bigger picture, and we understand what difference this would bring to local municipalities. Now, I will always make 3 examples when it comes to local municipalities. Esequa Municipality, Mossel Bay Municipality, and George Municipality, they are in such a position most of the time and in many areas where at times they might never need intervention. Now, our intentions is to intervene when it's difficult and when municipalities are in distress, like the other municipalities. You take Kanaland, you take Oudtshoorn, you take Knysna, you take Bito. Now, having an holistic approach to say that we don't need the garden route, so we're not going to approve this. There are other municipalities that will need our intervention. And this is one of the items, Mr. Speaker, that when the 3 of us, myself, yourself, and the municipality will make means that we invite ourselves to the bees, this is one of the things that we will explain again in terms of we are not going to impede in their jurisdictions, or we're not going to take their functions away. But we need this, and we will punch all the way, and all spheres are already aware of our intentions to get this accreditation, Mr. Speaker. So we're going to continue, but we just need the bees to understand that we are not going to take their revenue away. Instead, we will complement them where they can't reach. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Mr. Manager, Stratu.
Thank you, Speaker. As I've indicated in the previous item, I would like the record to reflect that as in fact, when we were requested by this council to do certain things on this matter, we've done them. We have had road shows in all the municipalities, sat with all the senior managers. We addressed, I think in Mosul Bay, we addressed the full council. We met with all the other municipal managers, and we have sent letters to all of them requesting them to table this item in their councils to obtain resolutions. That was not done once, it was done several times. So the fact that they have not come back with council resolutions should then not impede this council from moving forward. We have done what we can do. I'm not saying what the mayor is saying must not happen, but I'm just saying the record must reflect that we've done what we're supposed to do from this administration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Municipal Manager. The word executive mayor used reminds me of the past, but is our future. Thank you so much. Can I just at this stage congratulate Councillor Justin Fry on his birthday? I'm so sorry I missed it today. I wish I could show you my birthday list, what it looks like. I really need an updated version. I'll arrange that. I don't know why I keep old stuff around. But thank you so much. Can we move on to this item? Thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
Speaker.
Alderman Wolfen, and I've heard a lady's voice.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson.
In terms of Councillor Fry's birthday, it's not that you forgot it. You kept it for a special occasion. You kept it for long.
I'm not going to make Councillor Wolmerand's anniversary 25th today. Married to one man. Yep. So.
Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Jocelyn.
Yeah, Speaker, I will recommend that we approve the recommendations as on page 431, but only for a change in the wording of bullet point 5.1.2, that it should read as follows: that councils reconfirm the intention of the district municipality to be registered as the Water Services Authority of the district.
Yes. Can I just, my apologies. Can I, from the chair, perhaps just make a change? We reconfirm ons herbevestig. That is the wording. Thank you, Councillor Johnston.
Mr. Speaker, on a point of clarity.
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor.
I just need to know from Councillor Johnson if there's an advisor sitting next to her.
No, Mr. Mayor, it's only me.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. We also have, my apologies, let me just check. We've got in closed session 3 items. 3 items to deal with in closed session. It's K1, K2, and then F3 regards the regional wasteful, not wasteful, the regional landfill site. We can go into closed session. That's my suggestion. If you would like to have it in an open session later on, Mr. Mayor, my suggestion is that you can then do a press release at your leisure when you think it's necessary to do that. But those are the 3 items in closed session which council now consider. Are we all on board? As Councillor Barre Segotso, my last speaker, which I work with, always asked, are we together?
Yes.
Yes, Speaker. No, it's the MM. We are now going into closed session.
No, Speaker, the senior managers have no reason to leave.
No.
Don't affect them.
No, they don't have to leave. It's for you, Mr. Emmett. They don't have to leave. I'm declaring it a closed session so that we don't discuss this further in an open live streaming.
The closed session is closed to the public.
That's it. That's what I'm trying to say. YouTube is off. Bye-bye to our guests. Enjoy your weekend.
Speaker, Chokolo.
Thank you, Councillor Chokolo. We're just ensuring that we are no longer live streaming. We are going to discuss issues in closed session. Please proceed. Councillor Chokolo.
Okay. Yes, no, Jack, I couldn't hear you there, Speaker. I wanted to know that do we have officials now also